Chapter 297. Furthermore, the Heavenly Fae Ancient Sutra contained the Savage Sutra, Demon Spirit Truth, and Heavenly Tiger Art. To cultivate the Heavenly Fae Ancient Sutra, one had to cultivate the Savage Sutra, Demon Spirit Truth, and Heavenly Tiger Art simultaneously. The Heavenly Fae Ancient Sutra tempted Su-yi in an indescribable way, to the point that Su-yi was tempted. Furthermore, the Primordial Chaos Supreme technique was very mysterious. This made Su-yi unable to resist the temptation. He wanted to give it a try without dispersing his cultivation. After pondering for a while, Su-yi ultimately could not resist the temptation of the Heavenly Fae Ancient Sutra and wanted to give it a try. Su-yi first attempted the Savage Sutra. The Savage Sutra focused on strength and had extremely harsh requirements for the body. It needed to temper one's body, but Su-yi had already cultivated the first level of the Primordial Chaos Fae body, the Diamond body. He could give it a try. Without further ado, Su-yi took the first step and began cultivating the Savage Sutra. He circulated the cultivation technique and condensed a hand seal. He began attempting to cultivate the cultivation technique that he had been studying for a long time. L3/boom. It was unknown when it began, but Su-yi's body emitted a rumbling sound. There was a dazzling light that shimmered as an ancient suppressive force emanated in every direction. However, none of this leaked out of the mysterious space. Roar. 3 days later, Su-yi sat cross-legged. His body shimmered as an ancient beastly roar seemed to emanate from his body. Chi. Chi. At this moment, Su-yi's eyes opened at the same time. His eyes shone brightly as a vortex of light gushed out. A terrifying aura filled with an ancient aura, as if it could suppress everything in all directions, spread out towards this space. I've succeeded in cultivating it. His eyes were bright and did not calm down for a long time. Su-yi was somewhat in a daze, as though he was in disbelief. But at that moment, Su-yi could clearly sense that he had definitely succeeded in cultivating the Savage Sutra. Following that, Su-yi deliberately continued powering the Savage Sutra. The results were the same, proving that he had truly cultivated the Savage Sutra. Haha, what a good person! Heaven is on his side. Su-yi smiled. He was overjoyed. His luck was not bad. He never thought that he would be able to cultivate the Savage Scripture. Continue. Following which, Su-yi continued to cultivate. Since the Savage Scripture could be successfully cultivated without dispersing, the Heavenly Tiger Arts and Demon Spirit Insight could naturally be cultivated as well. Su-yi formed a hand seal and circulated the Heavenly Tiger technique in his mind. He continued to immerse himself in cultivating the Heavenly Tiger technique. After the same 3 days, Su-yi's tightly closed eyes opened once again. A ray of light flashed in the depths of his eyes. In an instant, the aura around his body surged like the rising and falling of the waves. It was a terrifying aura. Roar, at that moment, it was as though there was a huge shadow of a heavenly tiger enveloping Su-yi. It roared and a valiant aura surged around Su-yi's body. His hair fluttered in the wind and a thunderous sound rang out. It was deafening and resplendent. This was the might of the Heavenly Tiger technique. If there were people from the tribe of tiger hunters present, they would probably be astonished. At that moment, the might of the Heavenly Tiger technique on Su-yi's body was many times stronger than the Heavenly Tiger technique that they had cultivated. Fire Shadow Fist. Suddenly, Su-yi shouted in a low voice. Scorching hot fire chi burst out from his body and condensed into a martial skill. A terrifying chi burst out from his fist. It was as if his fist was blooming with a dazzling fiery light. A violent chi burst out from his fist towards the empty space in front of him. Boom! As Su-yi's fist landed, a blazing and ferocious force exploded in front of him. The force on Su-yi's fist was visible to the naked eye. It was like layers of fire shadows that struck down with an earth-shattering force. It shattered the spatial ripples, and a blazing fire wave swept out like a shock wave. Not far away, the golden python, white jade mystic bird, scarlet fire demonic marten, and the others were alarmed. Their eyes were filled with shock as they felt the terrifying might of the fist. Success. Sui was pleasantly surprised. He deliberately activated the fire shadow fist of the heavenly tiger technique to confirm that he had indeed cultivated the heavenly tiger technique. How could Sui let go of the demon spirit insight after cultivating the savage scripture and heavenly tiger technique at the same time? If he could cultivate the savage scripture, heavenly tiger technique, and demon spirit insight, he could cultivate the heavenly fey ancient scripture. The savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger technique were the foundation of the heavenly fey ancient scripture. Sui could not reject the techniques in the heavenly fey ancient scripture. The demon spirit insight focused on spirit. In terms of cultivation, it was slightly more complicated than the savage scripture and heavenly tiger technique. After all, the demon spirit insight was related to the power of the soul. However, Sui was very fast. Be it the savage scripture or heavenly tiger technique, or even the demon spirit insight, he could cultivate them all with the help of the primordial chaos supreme technique. In just 5 days, a vast ancient ethereal aura emanated from Sui's body. An aura with a slight demonic aura fluctuated. His eyes were like lightning, causing anyone who looked at him to feel their heart palpitate. Success. After exhaling a turbid breath, Sui had a smile on his face. He had also successfully cultivated the demon spirit insight. According to the heavenly fey ancient scripture, if one could cultivate the heavenly fey ancient scripture and attain the large success of the heavenly fey phenomenon, it would be enough to shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. At that moment, the foundation of the heavenly fey ancient scripture had been set. Sui was looking forward to it. How could Sui not be tempted by a cultivation technique that could shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep? From all the signs, the heavenly fey ancient scripture was definitely powerful and extremely terrifying. However, Sui was shocked and astonished to be able to cultivate the Heaven Fey Ancient Sutra's Savage Sutra, Heavenly Tiger Art, and Demon Spirit Truth so quickly. After careful thought, Sui guessed that it had a lot to do with the Primordial Chaos Supreme technique. The Savage Scripture was strength, the Heavenly Tiger technique was momentum, and the Demon Spirit Insight was spirit. In other words, the cultivation of the heavenly fey ancient scripture not only required the cultivation of the body and tempering of the body, but also the cultivation of the soul. However, the primordial chaos supreme technique had all of this. In the primordial chaos supreme technique, the diamond body was a lot harsher and stronger than the savage scripture's body tempering. As for the demon spirit insight's tempering of the soul, the second level of the primordial chaos fey body, the heavenly essence fey soul, specialized in tempering the soul. The primordial chaos supreme technique had all of the harsh conditions in the heavenly fey ancient scripture. Sui guessed that the reason why he could cultivate the savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger technique so quickly was related to the primordial chaos supreme technique. Kane-chi is formless and formless. It cannot be seen, heard, or fought for. Comes from the void. Myriad beasts appear illusory when they are corporeal, corporeal when they are corporeal, corporeal when they are corporeal. The heavenly fey phenomenon will shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. Sui muttered softly. His eyes were still filled with shock. The heavenly fey phenomenon. It was unknown how much it would shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. However, Sui did not plan on continuing his cultivation. His seclusion had taken a lot longer than expected. Worried about the situation outside, Sui planned on leaving seclusion to take a look before making a decision. From the heavenly fey ancient scripture, it seemed that even if he cultivated the savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger technique, it would be a lot more difficult to cultivate the complete heavenly Fey ancient scripture. Chapter 298. After packing up, Sui rejected Debao and Xiao Ling's request to go out with him. He instructed the Golden Python and the others to continue their seclusion in the mysterious space before leaving. Sui came out of seclusion. However, when he returned to the Spirit Ancient Village, he found it strange that there was only a group of young children. Brother Sui, the adults have gone out to find a way to deal with the savage beasts. A young child informed Sui that the others had gone to find a way to deal with the savage beast. Savage beasts. Hearing this, Sui frowned. Suddenly, Sui saw Su Tianke sneaking out of the house. Su Tianke. Sui stopped Su Tianke. He felt that Su Tianke was up to no good. Are you out of seclusion? Something big happened here. Su Tianke smiled sheepishly at Sui's call. He shook his head and wobbled his way to Sui with his tail sticking close to him. I'm asking you, what are you looking for? Sui looked at Su Tianke. This bald chicken couldn't hide anything. He asked, Did you secretly eat something? Secretly? What could I possibly eat? The spiritual herbs and 100-fruit wine must be with Shangguan Su. Su Tianke glared at Su fiercely. However, Su Tianke realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He lowered his head and smiled at Sui. I'm doing this for the good of the villagers. If those savage beasts come in, we can't let the 100-fruit wine and spiritual herbs be spoiled by them. Sui could tell that Su Tianke was looking for the 100-fruit wine and spiritual herbs. What savage beasts? What's going on? Sui asked. It seemed that something big had happened. Sui then learned from Su Tianke that a few days ago, a savage beast had discovered the people in this place and trespassed. It was scared off by Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu, and Elder Hu Bu. Over the past few days, more and more barbaric beasts had gathered and blocked the exit. Those barbaric beasts want to capture all of them in one fell swoop. They are waiting for experts to arrive. Su Tianke said to Sui in a serious tone, Let's think of a way to retreat first. We need to leave as far as we can. If we're late, we won't be able to leave even if we want to. I'll go check on the situation first. Sui frowned and disappeared from where he stood. After stepping into the first level of the demon spirit realm, the speed of Sui's skyward 100 transformation steps increased by another level. Although Sui had only tried to cultivate the savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger art in the past few days, he still felt that he had made some progress. So fast. Looking at Sui's back, Su Tianke's eyes flashed with surprise. At the entrance of the valley, clouds were everywhere. At this moment, the hunting tiger tribe, the barbarian bear tribe, and the spirit ancient village, who possessed fighting strength, were all prepared. Their expressions were grave as they gathered together. Outside the valley, within the clouds, huge beasts could be vaguely seen. The roars of beasts could be heard constantly. In the sky, flying barbaric beasts could be seen circling around with sharp eyes. The three elders, Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hu Bu, had solemn expressions on their faces. Behind them, Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Yen, Xiong Zhan, Hu Qi, Xiong Lai, and the rest of the younger generation also had uneasy expressions on their faces. Elder, what should we do now? Shangguan Rock asked. He clenched his sword tightly and looked at the barbaric beasts that appeared from time to time. He was ready to attack at any time. Is the heavens going to destroy our Tian Yao school? Shangguan Su sighed. So many savage beasts had suddenly appeared. Even if they could escape, the remaining descendants of the heavenly demon sect who had taken refuge here were mostly young children. There was no way they could escape, and they had nowhere to go. 8. Let's go. Let's kill our way out. Let's go as far as we can. If this continues, there will be more and more barbaric beasts. I'm afraid none of us will be able to escape, Elder Xiong Lu said. There were more and more barbaric beasts outside. If this continued, it would be even more difficult to kill their way out. So what if we kill our way out? Where can we go? Elder Hubu shook his head. So what if some of them managed to escape? This was the barbaric demon forest. There was nowhere else to go. Brother Sui. Someone noticed Sui, who was rushing over. The crowd was in an uproar. Master. The barbaric spectral heavenly leopard charged out from the front and stopped in front of Sui. Its ferocious eyes were as bright as the moon, and its blade-like scales glowed with a profound light. It had left with this group of people back then and had been preserved. Brother Sui, have you come out of seclusion? Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yi, and Shangguan Xiu all gathered around with serious expressions. What's the situation now? When Sui reached the exit, he could already sense the dense aura of demonic beasts in front of him. There were flying demonic beasts circling in the air. There were many experts amongst these demonic beasts. As Sui swept his gaze across the area, he guessed that these savage beasts were probably afraid of Shangguan Su and the other two elders' auras. Perhaps they were waiting for stronger savage beasts to appear. Once a barbaric beast expert came, they would probably barge in. There are more and more barbaric beasts. The three elders have already sensed the aura of a demon illusionary realm barbaric beast expert. A young girl stepped forward. Her black hair was originally tied into a beautiful bun, and her face was as delicate as a silver plate. She wore a light yellow robe with a very low neckline, and a light yellow brocade wrapped around her chest, outlining her towering curves. She had a slender waist and long legs, and a graceful figure. It was Shangguan Shiwei. What should we do now? When Xiongzhan, Xiongli, Hu Qi, and the rest saw Sui, they immediately stepped forward from the side of their elders. They had seen with their own eyes how Sui killed the profound origin realm python. Perhaps he had a solution. What do these barbaric beasts want? Sui asked. With so many barbaric beasts gathering, they must be up to something. This is the barbaric demon forest, the territory of the barbaric beasts. The demon race and humans are like fire and water. They just want to devour us, Shangguan Rock said. Although the barbaric beasts on the demon Luo mountain had a subtle relationship with them, they knew that under normal circumstances, humans and barbaric beasts were like fire and water. Sui stepped forward and raised his eyebrows as he looked at the dense group of beasts in front of him. If this group of barbaric beasts appeared in the outside world, they would probably be hunted down by human warriors for no reason. 3 elders. Sui immediately greeted the 3 elders. Because of the presence of the 3 remaining elders of the Tian Yao school, the barbaric beasts lingered outside and did not dare to barge in. The situation is very serious. Chapter 299. After knowing that Sui was the new sect leader of Tian Yao School, Shangguan Su and the others were still hesitant. However, they did not dare to be careless anymore. Their attitudes were subtle. Roar. Roar. YJ Most Carat T New Chapter. Chapter 6 on you. Suddenly, the roars of beasts outside the gorge were like thunder, rising and falling one after another like a sudden clap of thunder, and waves of ferocious auras swept over and dispersed the clouds and mist. Oh no, those beasts are about to attack! Shangguan Su, Xionglu, and Hu Bu's expressions changed. Their aura surged, and the air around them seemed to have frozen. Swoosh, one by one, the figures unsheathed their weapons. They were ready for battle, and their faces were tense. Roar! The barbaric heavenly leopard roared in a deep voice. It slowly walked to Suyi's side and stood beside Sui. It wanted to protect its master. Finally, it can't take it anymore. Su Tianke had followed them and stood on the back of the barbaric heavenly leopard. His little head was staring straight ahead. Sui looked at the entrance in front. In his eyes, the clouds were moving, and the ground was trembling. A large group of savage beasts was slowly approaching. Squeak, squeaks pierced through the clouds in the sky. Many savage beasts spread their wings and hovered at a low altitude. At the center was a ferocious bird that had a wingspan of over 30 meters that seemed like dark cloud. Its entire body wasn't covered in feathers but black scales that were like blades and suffused with a cold light. Its head was like a lizard's, and it spat out a scarlet-red tongue. Black nether flying lizard. Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hu Bu's expressions were solemn. This was a black nether flying lizard. Its aura was obviously at the second level of the Demon Void stage. It was much stronger than the first level of the Origin Void stage. Such a black nether flying lizard was already difficult for the three of them to deal with even if they worked together. Be careful. The young men below formed a defensive formation. They held their weapons tightly, guarding against the savage beasts that would swoop down at any time. Roar. The roars of the beasts were deafening. There were no less than 200 barbaric demonic beasts in front of them. Their gigantic beasts covered the entire area, and their ferocious auras were like the tides. At the very front was an enormous black-colored ferocious beast that was over 10 m in size. Its entire body was pitch black, and its sparse long hair stood erect like steel needles. Its entire body emitted a faint black light, and it had sharp fangs and a mouth like a pig or a wolf. Its aura was ferocious. Mythical black beast. Elder Xiong Lu sucked in a breath of cold air. This was a black nightmare beast. It was rare, but it was extremely ferocious. The mythical black beast in front of him had also reached the illusory beast stage. Judging from its aura, it wasn't any weaker than the dark nether flying lizard. Behind the mythical black beast there were several hundred barbaric beasts. Many of them were in the demon true realm, and even more of them were in the demon spirit realm. The three elders, Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu and Hu Bu, looked extremely solemn. It was impossible for them to fend off such a group of barbaric beasts. Look, isn't that, when the mythical black beast appeared, Shangguan Rock, Xiong Zhan, Hu Qi and the others, who looked solemn and tense, were instantly moved. They couldn't help but look at Sui. Sui also saw the black ferocious beast and recognized it at a glance. Previously, when he still had the power of the mysterious space, he had killed a demon illusory beast stage python. This mythical black beast was also present. It was frightened and immediately fled. He didn't expect to see it again. So many humans. I can eat my fill today, the mythical black beast roared and spoke in human language. Its murderous intent filled the air. Suddenly, the mythical black beast's expression changed. A young man walked out from the group of humans in front of it. He had a sword on his back, and he was skinny and tall. He slowly walked towards the mythical black beast. "It's you." Upon seeing this young man, the mythical black beast immediately fell silent, and an instinctive look of fear appeared in its eyes. How could it forget such a human young man? It had seen with its own eyes how the python, which was more powerful than it, was brutally killed. It was too horrible to look at. Luckily, it escaped quickly. Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu and Hu Bu were about to stop Sui when they saw him walk out. However, when they saw the mythical black beast's abnormal reaction, they were shocked. The dark abyss flying lizard in the air was also shocked. It looked down with a cold gaze. When Sui saw the mythical black beast and felt its reaction, he immediately turned his gaze. It seemed like the mythical black beast remembered him but didn't know about his situation. It was instinctively afraid of him. Perhaps he could take a gamble today. "Evil creature, do you want to die?" Sui took a step forward and activated the Supreme Origin technique. A majestic aura filled the air as Sui scolded the mythical black beast. Awo! When Sui activated the Supreme Origin technique, the barbaric demonic beasts present couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with fear. The ferocious bird in the air also trembled with fear. The mythical black beast couldn't help but take 2 steps back. It was shocked. It didn't expect a human to be here. It still had lingering fears after seeing the python. What? Are you still not going to scram? Do you want me to kill you? Su Yi's eyes were red as he stared at the mythical black beast. It seemed like the mythical black beast was the leader of this group of barbaric demonic beasts. If he could intimidate the mythical black beast, they might be able to escape today. The mythical black beast's eyes flickered. The aura of the origin void realm surged, but it was instinctively afraid at this moment. Black beast, why aren't you attacking? Are you disobeying my order? The dark abyss flying lizard in the air spoke in human language. It also sensed the abnormal aura of the human young man. The aura of the mythical void realm fluctuated. That majestic and destructive aura made the mythical black beast's hair stand. Therefore, it didn't dare to act rashly. If you want to attack, do it yourself. The mythical black beast glared at the dark abyss flying lizard. It didn't dare to attack. This young man was very mysterious. However, it didn't dare to retreat either. This was an order from the Demon King. Hearing the mythical black beast's words, the dark abyss flying lizard became even more hesitant. This mythical black beast must know something. The aura of the human young man was very mysterious and strange. The mythical black beast must be afraid of something. Therefore, it didn't dare to attack. Xiong Lu, Shangguan Su, and Hu Bu looked at each other. They couldn't understand why a mythical black beast at the mythical void realm would be so afraid of Su Yi. Boom! But then, 3 auras of the origin void realm surged from Xiong Lu, Shangguan Su, and Hu Bu. 3 figures soared into the air. The 3 auras of the origin void realm were like a storm, causing the void to rumble. The 3 elders wanted to help Su Yi and intimidate this group of barbaric demonic beasts. Sensing the auras of the 3 elders, the dark abyss flying lizard and the mythical black beast were secretly filled with murderous intent. However, the one who looked the most fearful was Su Yi. Human, I can sense that your aura is not simple. However, I would like to see where you came from. Chapter 300. Upon hearing that, Xiong Lu, Shangguan Su, and Hu Bu locked onto the dark nether flying lizard that was hovering in the air. The 3 elders knew Su Yi's strength. It was impossible for him to be a match for the dark nether flying lizard. What? You want to stop me? What a joke. Sensing the target of Shangguan Su and the other 2 elders, the black abyss flying lizard did not place them in its eyes. A black light flashed on its body as its enormous body flapped its wings and dived towards Su Yi. How dare you! Elder Shangguan Su shouted as he leaped into the air. A powerful aura fluctuated as a sword appeared in his hand, radiating with light. This sword was not simple. It was not an ordinary sword. It emitted a powerful aura, and the sword radiance engulfed the dark nether flying lizard. Streaks of sword radiance cut through the air. You overestimate yourself! The dark nether flying lizard opened its mouth, and its scarlet tongue shot out like a flash of lightning. Like a trident, it collided directly with Elder Shangguan Xiu's sword radiance. Whoosh! When the 2 collided, a terrifying force exploded. The sword radiance only held on for a moment before it began to shatter. The latter's scarlet tongue was like a dazzling bolt of lightning, directly entangling Elder Shangguan Su's sword. It entangled the sword, and a huge force swept out. Pfft! Elder Shangguan Su's expression changed. His eyes shrunk and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The sword in his hand fell from his hand, and his body was pushed back in the air. Watch out! Elder Xiong Lu and Elder Hu Bu's expressions changed. Both of them flew into the air at the same time. Elder Hu Bu's ancient aura was intimidating. He struck out with his palm, and a tiger shadow roared in front of his palm. Light surged. Elder Xiong Lu's aura was not below Elder Hu Bu's. His aura was ferocious. Light exploded, and his fist fell like a meteor. The 2 elders attacked the dark nether flying lizard from the left and right. Humph! The dark nether flying lizard snorted coldly. It spread its wings, and a black light soared into the sky. The black light around its body was deep and resplendent. Its wings were like two blades of light that swept across. Boom! With such a collision, the low-altitude area seemed to be on the verge of exploding. The storm of energy swept through the canyon, shocking everyone in the Tian Yao school who was present. Walala! Gravel and broken wood flew all over the place. The strong wind was like a storm. Sand and stones flew everywhere. Dust filled the sky. The entire canyon seemed to be shaking. The Origin Void Stage and the Demon Void Stage are so powerful. The students of the Tian Yao school sighed. The cultivation of the original Void Realm and the Monster Void Realm was so powerful. Pucci, but in the next moment Xiong Lu and Hu Bu were blasted back by the shockwave, with blood dripping from the corners of their mouths. Su Yi's gaze was fixed on the sky. From the way the three elders attacked, he could sense that they had used the demon spirit insight, heavenly tiger art, and savage scripture. Regardless of whether it was the demonic spirit insight, heavenly tiger arts, or the savage scripture, all of them had the power and effect of suppressing barbaric demonic beasts. However, the dark nether-flying lizard seemed to be much stronger than the three elders, so it wasn't affected much. There seems to be something lacking. At this moment, Su Yi had already cultivated the savage scripture, demon spirit truth, and heavenly tiger technique. From the three elders, he could feel that the cultivation techniques that the three elders cultivated seemed to be somewhat lacking compared to the real savage scripture. Otherwise, they would be more powerful and would not be like this. Little blackbird, if I recover my strength, you won't even be qualified to be my follower. Su Tianke raised his eyebrows on the barbaric heavenly leopard. However, he didn't charge forward. Instead, he muttered unhappily, "You overestimate yourself." The dark nether-flying lizard said coldly. It didn't even look at the three elders. It circled in the air and dived down towards Su Yi again. Watch out! The three elders were shocked. It was difficult for them to rescue Su Yi. Moreover, they were injured in one move. It was difficult for them to defeat the dark nether-flying lizard. Wait! At this moment, Su Yi shouted. Seeing the dark nether-flying lizard diving down, he didn't retreat. Instead, he took out an item from his arms. The item was small, but it was exceptionally bright. It shone brightly. It was a strand of red hair. It was filled with the power of a beast. The dark abyss-flying lizard's eyes were filled with ferocity as it swooped down. When it suddenly saw the bright red mane in Su Yi's hand, its gaze changed greatly, and it spread its wings to regain its balance. The huge body of the dark nether-flying lizard was almost right in front of Su Yi. Its pair of fierce eyes were dazzling and seemed to be the size of Su Yi's body. It was incomparably terrifying. With an astonished expression, it asked, "Kid, where did you get this thing?" A ferocious aura rushed towards him. The aura was violent and ferocious. Su Yi almost staggered back. The primordial qi in his body surged. Primordial qi gushed out from the soles of his feet. Only then did he stabilize his body. What's going on? Elder Shangguan Su and the others, whose expressions had changed drastically, immediately became astonished when they saw this scene. The disciples of Tian Yao School were also shocked. Their hearts were in their throat. That's Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Shiwei, and the others recognized the item in Su Yi's hand. It was left behind by the azure water gold beast cub that Su Yi had saved. I made the right bet. Looking at the dark nether-flying lizard that was almost within reach, Su Yi heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had made the right bet. Otherwise, with his current strength, he wouldn't have been able to withstand a single blow from the dark nether-flying lizard. This item belonged to Qi Nu. It said that if I were to encounter any disturbances here, I should take it out. The other party wouldn't dare to offend me again. Su Yi probed as he looked at the dark nether-flying lizard's expression. This item was indeed left behind by Qi Nu, the azure water gold beast that Su Yi had unintentionally helped not long ago. It was just that Chi Nu's words were within the vicinity. If he took out this item and said its name, it would at least give him some face. At this moment, Sui changed his words slightly. He wanted to see if he could intimidate the dark nether-flying lizard. Although Chi Nu was only in the demon spirit realm, the bloodline of the azure water gold beast was much stronger than that of the dark nether-flying lizard. Perhaps Chi Nu had a powerful force behind him that could intimidate the dark nether-flying lizard. Sui guessed that Chi Nu's words before he left were enough to prove that Chi Nu had a certain status in the vicinity. Chi Nu. Hearing Sui's words, the dark nether-flying lizard's expression changed drastically. What's your relationship with Chi Nu? Y6C0 Original Chapter 9 Section P above. Hearing Sui's words, the dark nether-flying lizard's eyes flickered with an ominous glint as it stared at Sui with fear. Friend, Sui said. From the change in the dark nether-flying lizard's expression, he guessed that this item was indeed useful. It seemed like Chi Nu had a high status in the vicinity. You're lying. How could young Master Chi Nu be friends with a human like you? Chapter 301. Young Master. P.F. Sui's eyes flickered. It seemed that Chi Nu really had a high status, that the dark nether-flying lizard was wary of him. Not long ago, Chi Nu was surrounded by a golden-patterned ancient scorpion. I happened to pass by and helped Chi Nu. Sui looked straight at the dark nether-flying lizard, his eyes flashing red with power. The black abyss-flying lizard's expression changed. It knew about this matter. The news of the scarlet pheasant being ambushed by the golden-patterned ancient scorpion lord had already spread. How could it not know that the demon king was truly furious? The dark nether-flying lizard looked at the young man in front of it and felt that it was strange. It did not know why, but this human youth gave it an invisible pressure. The longer she faced him, the greater the invisible pressure became. Gradually, it gave her the illusion that the person in front of her was not a human youth, but a demon emperor. Young Master was indeed attacked by the golden-patterned ancient scorpion a few days ago and was injured. The black mythical beast reminded the dark nether-flying lizard. The dark nether-flying lizard stared at Sui with a murderous look. Human young man, you may not know this, but the one who wants you humans is the Demon King. Even if you are related to the young master, it's useless. Moreover, whether you know the young master, or where the young master's token came from, is still unknown. The black nether-flying lizard said to Sui. Demon King. Sui's eyes darkened. He had met a group of demon kings in the barbaric demon forest, and each of them was extremely powerful. So what if you are a demon king? On the back of the barbaric heavenly leopard, Su Tianke raised his head and said unhappily. Who are you? The dark nether-flying lizard, the black mythical beast, and the other barbaric demonic beasts looked at Su Tianke in shock. A small bald chicken could speak human language. Could it be that he was at the demon void realm? You are not qualified to know who I am. Get out of here if you know what's good for you. Su Tianke raised his head and put his wings on his waist. He looked quite imposing. However, Su Tianke's current appearance was indeed laughable, and one would completely overlook his aura. I don't care who you are. If you mix with humans, you are an enemy. The dark nether-flying lizard stared down at Su Tianke. It seemed to be able to sense the unusual aura from Su Tianke, which made it somewhat fearful. It did not immediately make a move. Why is the demon emperor looking for us? Sui gestured for Su Tianke to stop messing things up. If the dark nether-flying lizards were to attack, the consequences would be unimaginable. How would we know what the demon emperor is thinking? We're just following orders, the dark abyss-flying lizard said. The mythical black beast hesitated momentarily before speaking to Sui from afar. Human, the demon sovereign has issued an order, saying that there might be humans in the vicinity who have found all of you. He wants us to bring all of you back. Sui frowned. This place was very secluded. Generations of the spirit ancient village, the wild bear tribe, and the tribe of tiger hunters had taken care of this place. However, none of the beasts had discovered this place. This time, the beasts had found all of them so quickly after they had arrived. Although it was possible that hundreds of people had arrived and would have attracted the attention of the beasts, it had happened too quickly. Everyone had been very careful when they had entered. However, they now understood that the Demon Emperor had issued an order to search for humans. No wonder they had been discovered. Human, I don't care what relationship you have with young Master Chi Nu. You have to come with us today. Otherwise, I won't be polite. The dark nether-flying lizard stared at Su-Yi fiercely. However, its attitude towards Su-Yi was obviously much more polite. How arrogant! Su Tianke was unconvinced and was about to say something. Su-Yi waved his hand to stop Su Tianke. He looked at the dark nether-flying lizard and said, "How about I accompany you back to meet the Demon Emperor alone?" Everyone was shocked when they heard Su-Yi's words. Wouldn't it be a one-way trip if they went to meet the Demon Emperor alone? The dark nether-flying lizard and the black mythical beast were also surprised. They looked at Su-Yi strangely. "You don't know why the Demon Emperor is looking for us. If we fight, both of us will suffer great losses. I guarantee that you won't be able to gain any advantage." Su-Yi pretended to be calm. However, the dark nether-flying lizard said, "I am indeed a friend of your young Master Chi Nu. Bring me back and I will go with you. Otherwise, both of us will suffer great losses. If anything happens, the Demon Emperor won't blame you. I will bear all the responsibility." This. The dark nether-flying lizard raised its eyebrows. It had indeed sensed an invisible aura from this young man that made it feel uneasy. At this moment, this young man's expression didn't change at all. Coupled with the black mythical beast's nervousness, the dark nether-flying lizard was a little afraid. Could this young man really be a terrifying human expert? This is not a bad idea. We can report back to the Demon Emperor and find out the relationship between you and young Master Chi Nu, the black mythical beast said. This was undoubtedly the best outcome. It was afraid of the young man in front of it. If they really fought, it would have lingering fears. Last time, it had personally witnessed how terrifying this young man was. Alright, it won't take much time anyway. However, even if you follow us back, no one will be able to leave. Otherwise, we will kill without mercy. The dark nether-flying lizard nodded. However, it was afraid that this was a trick of the humans. It then ordered the black mythical beast and the other barbaric beasts to continue blocking the exit. No one was allowed to leave. All right. The black mythical beast nodded. Anyway, it didn't want to provoke this young man. If it brought him back, it wouldn't know the Demon Emperor's attitude. If it stayed here, it would have nothing to do with this young man. Brother Su-Yi, are you really going to go there alone? Shangguan Rock, Xiongzhan, Hu Qi, and the others surrounded him. They were very worried and nervous. Su-Yi was going to meet the Demon Emperor alone. No one knew if he was dead or alive. They were afraid that he would be in danger. No worries, I have my own plans. Su-Yi smiled faintly and pretended to be calm. In his heart, Su-Yi was also very nervous. However, he had no other choice. If this stalemate continued, the dark nether-flying lizard would really attack. The disciples of the Tian Yao school would not be able to resist it, and the three elders would not be able to stop it. As for the mysterious energy in his mysterious space and the energy in the broken sword, he didn't know if they would be so lucky as to appear again. Perhaps the energy in the mysterious space and the broken sword was limited and had been completely exhausted. As for meeting the Demon Emperor, Su-Yi also wanted to know why the Demon Emperor was looking for everyone. He guessed that he had helped Chi Nu a lot. Judging from Chi Nu's attitude, if he could meet Chi Nu and get help from Chi Nu, it would be better than the current situation. Elders, may I have a word with you? After that, Su-Yi signaled Shangguan Su and the other two elders to go to the side. He lowered his voice and said, If I don't return after a long time, then. Sui didn't say it clearly. The dark nether flying lizard and the black mythical beast were very powerful. No matter how soft a voice was, it wouldn't be able to escape their ears. He believed that the three elders would understand. Chapter 302. You have to be careful. Shangguan Shiwei was very nervous. She looked solemn and worried about Sui. Sui nodded and smiled. Most new, 4, 8 on square root T. I'll go with you. Seeing that Sui wanted to go alone, Su Tianke gritted his teeth and finally decided to go with Sui. You can stay here. Maybe you can help. Sui shook his head. He knew that Su Tianke was a mysterious guy. He didn't want Su Tianke to take the risk when he went to see Demon King Jianna. You're the one who needs help the most. Maybe I can scare that Demon King. Su Tianke made up his mind. In the end, Sui could only nod and go with Su Tianke. Lead the way. Sui said to the dark nether flying lizard and asked it to lead the way. You can't fly? When the dark nether flying lizard flapped its wings to lead the way and found that Sui and Su Tianke were walking leisurely behind, it couldn't stay calm. To be honest, I haven't reached the primordial void realm yet. Sui didn't hide it. He couldn't fly before reaching the primordial void realm. Only those who had reached the primordial void realm had the ability to fly. The dark nether flying lizard was speechless. If it walked back to see the Demon King, it didn't know how long it would take. Come on up. You better be a friend of young Master Chi Nu, otherwise, I'll make you beg for death. In the end, the dark nether flying lizard had to let Sui and Su Tianke get on its back. It was a primordial void realm cultivator, and it was unwilling to become a mount. It would never let a human ride on its back. If this human wasn't a friend of young Master Chi Nu, it wouldn't tolerate it. After passing through the mountains, there were continuous mountain ranges and undulating forests below. In the air ahead, there were more flying savage beasts circling in the void. From time to time, a ferocious aura would soar into the sky. There were many powerful barbaric beasts present. The continuous mountains towered into the clouds, majestic and majestic. There were waterfalls pouring down in torrents, winding rivers, and clouds pervading the air. It was incomparably magnificent, like an ink landscape painting. Oh! Within the forest, the roars of demonic beasts could be heard. Many powerful demonic beasts appeared, radiating with light. They were all cultivating on the mountaintops, and powerful auras emanated from them. Not far away, there was a place where the energy of heaven and earth was rich. There was a medicinal fragrance there. It seemed that there were some rare and ancient elixirs. So this is the barbaric demon forest. Sui was very shocked. Although he had been in the savage demon forest for a period of time, this was indeed the first time he faced the savage demon forest in such a way. We're almost there, the dark nether flying lizard said. Sui followed the black nether flying lizard's words and looked ahead. He was immediately shocked. He saw an ancient city sitting on a huge mountain surrounded by clouds, as if it was being held up in the air. Upon closer inspection, he realized that it was a huge city built on top of a mountain. It was completely built with huge rocks, and it was incomparably majestic. This huge city was not built on top of a mountain. Instead, it was surrounded by continuous city walls that surrounded many mountains. How awe-inspiring it was! A wide stone path extended from the huge city to the foot of the mountain. There were many demonic beasts standing guard on both sides of the path. However, Sui and Su Tianke rode on the dark nether flying lizard and went directly to the huge city. They only landed when they reached the city gate. Facing this ancient giant city, Sui was even more astonished. This giant city was so majestic that it was shocking. Standing under the towering city walls, he felt like an ant. Above the city gate there were 3 big words Kanglan City, engraved on a huge rock. It was incomparably bold and powerful. Is this the place where the Demon King lives? Sui was shocked. The place where the Demon King lived was not as prosperous as a big human city. However, this majestic place was not something that a big human city could compare to. The city gate was guarded by powerful demonic beasts. It was not easy to enter the city. The dark nether-flying lizard seemed to be of high status. With it leading the way, the journey was smooth. Inside Kanglan City there were not many buildings. Instead, there were beautiful forests and caves. However, there were also many majestic palaces that were built with huge rock. In the end, Sui was brought into a huge hall by the dark nether-flying lizard. There were powerful demonic beasts standing guard around. The atmosphere was tense and solemn. All the demonic beasts were staring at Sui fiercely. The dark nether-flying lizard was going to report to the Demon King and warn Sui and Su Tianke not to run around. Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences. So big, so shocking. After the dark nether-flying lizard left, Sui looked around the hall. He was shocked by what he saw along the way. He did not expect the Demon King's residence to be so extravagant. He was indeed a legendary demonic beast. It's not even worth mentioning. A place like this is much better than the place where I used to store all sorts of stuff in my cave abode. Su Tianke did not care. He leaned lazily against a huge stone pillar in the hall. The hall was empty. There was not even a chair. Su Tianke could not find a place to rest. You're just bragging. Sui was already used to Su Tianke's tone. Although Su Tianke seemed to be extraordinary every time, especially when he escaped with hundreds of Tian Yao School's disciples, he did not really believe that this guy was the legendary peacock. What kind of existence was the peacock? However, looking at Su Tianke's current appearance, the difference was too great. Are you the human who saved Chi Nu? Suddenly, when such a voice spread out, a figure appeared out of thin air in the hall without a sound. Such a figure had a stalwart figure, crimson-red eyes, and clear and deep facial features. Especially that pair of dark and deep crimson-red eyes, they revealed the aura of a king that shook the world, and he wore a crimson-gold robe, causing him to reveal an extraordinary heroic bearing. This person looked like he was less than 50 years old. His body exuded the aura of a king. His deep eyes gave people a sense of oppression. When this figure appeared, Sui suddenly felt the vitality in his body solidify. His heart trembled inexplicably. It was as if the air around him had become tense. That gaze seemed to be able to see through him. When this person appeared, Su Tianke's lazy eyes turned. There was a flicker of light in them. There's a demonic aura. A demonic beast expert. It's a demon king. This was not the first time Sui had felt this aura. The pressure was accompanied by a demonic aura. This was a demonic beast expert. It was a demon king. Boom! Suddenly, under the inexplicable invisible pressure, the Origin Supreme technique in Sui's body activated automatically. He was like an emperor who could not be provoked. A destructive pressure spread out. Traces of red light quietly appeared in the depths of Sui's eyes. Chapter 303. At that moment, the stalwart figure's expression changed. He stared intently at Sui, as though he was trying to pry into something. Then, as though he had sensed something, the stalwart figure shifted his gaze to Su Tianke. Are you the monster emperor of this place? Su Tianke asked as he stared straight at the stalwart figure. It was as though he didn't feel any pressure from the monster emperor. Where did you come from? The stalwart figure asked as he stared at Su Tianke. The shock on his face disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Version 8 has just been released. You wouldn't know even if I told you. Who are you? Why did you send those savage beasts to find us? Su Tianke asked as he stared at the stalwart figure. His featherless wings were clasped tightly to his sides, and he stood with his hands behind his back. Everyone calls me Akatsuki. The tall and sturdy man looked at Su Tiankei and Su Yi, sizing them up. You, Su Tiankei, don't be so presumptuous. Su Tiankei was about to speak when he was interrupted by Su Yi. He looked at the middle-aged man who called himself Akatsuki and cupped his fist. Greetings, Monster Emperor. What's so great about being a demon emperor? Su Tiankei muttered softly, but his voice was extremely soft. Are you the human who saved my son, Chinu? Akatsuki's gaze landed on Su Yi. His stalwart figure was at least 2 heads taller than Su Yi, who was already quite tall among his peers. That's right. It's just an opportunity. It's not worth mentioning. Su Yi replied. Although the invisible pressure in Su Tiank's body had been eliminated, the pressure from the surrounding space was still there. It felt as though it was difficult to penetrate his chi. He endured the pressure and stood straight without moving. Chinu told me everything. You look exactly the same as what he said. It shouldn't be fake. Chi-Ching spoke. For some reason, a look of admiration seemed to flash across his scarlet eyes as he looked at Su Yi. Subsequently, he continued to stare quietly at Su Yi as he continued. In that case, half a month ago, there was an earth-shaking battle outside this place. Some demonic race members saw humans fleeing. It should have been you, right? When Akatsuki said this, Su Yi's heart suddenly tightened. Su Tiank's eyes also flickered. Have we been exposed? Su Yi was shocked. Could it be that we've been exposed? No wonder the Demon King had people from Tian Yao School. It was indeed intentional. When the descendants of Tian Yao School were massacred, so many super-strong masters, the Demon Venerable, and the people from the Holy Mountain fought like the end of the world. Just as Su Tiankei had guessed, it had attracted the attention of the strong masters of the Demon Clan. Therefore, the Demon King ordered the savage demons to search for humans in the surrounding area. Su Yi pondered. He didn't know why Akatsuki was searching for people from Tian Yao School. The changes in Su Yi's and Su Tiank's expressions were all seen by Akatsuki. He said calmly, "It seems that the battle was indeed related to you guys." Su Yi secretly took a deep breath. He looked up at Akatsuki and said, "Senior, to be honest, it was indeed related to us." "Are you also related to the battle?" Su Tiankei asked. He was very close to Su Yi. There was some red light in his eyes. Akatsuki looked at Su Yi and Su Tiankei. His eyes moved back and forth. His face was calm, and no one could tell what he was thinking. "Don't be nervous. If I wanted to kill you, you wouldn't be in front of me right now." A few breaths later, a wisp of a smile appeared on Chi-Ching's face, and he said to Su Yi and Su Tiankei, "I just want to know why experts have appeared in the barbaric demon forest." The effects of the battle weren't small, and it alarmed many experts of the demon race. Everyone wants to know the reason, so I wonder if the two of you can tell me? Hearing this, Su Yi looked at Akatsuki. He hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Later, Su Yi told Akatsuki some information about Tian Yao School. The descendants of Tian Yao School had concealed their identities and hid in the savage demon forest for many years. However, they were constantly hunted down by their enemies. Most of their strong masters were killed, and only a few young ones managed to escape. Su Yi knew that there was no need to hide these things. How monstrous the battle was! News of it had already spread. The Tian Yao School's matter couldn't be hidden either. Akatsuki was looking for him, which meant that he had obtained some information. If he hid it now, it would be self-defeating. He could only resign himself to fate. Tian Yao School. Akatsuki looked at Su Yi and nodded as if he knew something. His expression was still quite calm. He looked at Su Yi and continued to ask, "So that's how it is." The battle was earth-shattering. The strong masters from all sides were extraordinary. I was wondering who could cause such a great battle. It turns out that the Tian Yao School still exists. The Demon King knows about the Tian Yao School. Su-yi was a little surprised. Akatsuki seemed to know about the Tian Yao school. I've lived for thousands of years. I've heard a lot of things. I've also heard about the Tian Yao school, but not much. I only know that the Tian Yao school used to be a big school in the ancient times. It's not inferior to the one mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 groups of humans, Akatsuki said. Thousands of years, Su-yi knew that this world was very different from his previous life. Many strong masters had long lives, and some strong masters of the demon clan were even more so. However, at this moment, a middle-aged demon king, who claimed to have lived for thousands of years, was standing in front of him. He couldn't help but be shocked. Young man, you dare to come to see me alone. What's your status in the Tian Yao school? Akatsuki looked at Su-yi and asked with great interest. The more he looked at this young man, the more shocked he was. To be honest, I'm the new suzerain of the Tian Yao school. Su-yi also had his own plans. His future was uncertain. He asked Akatsuki, Demon King, why did you send so many savage beasts to search for us? This matter has alarmed many strong masters of the demon clan. I'm not the only one. Many strong masters of the demon clan are also looking for you. Akatsuki smiled and looked at Su-yi. He said, young and promising. No wonder you dared to come to see me alone. It turns out that you're the suzerain of the Tian Yao school. They're all looking for. Hearing Akatsuki's words, Su-yi's heart tightened. Akatsuki wasn't the only one looking for the people of the Tian Yao school. Many strong masters of the demon clan were also looking for the people of the Tian Yao school. This meant that even if the people of the Tian Yao school escaped once, they wouldn't be able to get far in this savage demon forest. They had nowhere to run. Chapter 304. I heard that the Tian Yao school left something behind, and that's why it attracted so many powerful people. Akatsuki had always been interested in Su-yi. He asked Su-yi again, my young friend, you are the new leader of the Tian Yao school. I wonder what the item left behind by the Tian Yao school is that it attracted so many powerful people to seek it for thousands of years? Su-yi was shocked. This must be the purpose of the demon king Akatsuki. No wonder he was looking for the students of the Tian Yao school. It was also for the sake of the Tian Yao school. If the Tian Yao school had left something behind, it wouldn't have ended up in such a state of hiding, and it wouldn't have been massacred. It seems that the demon king only wants the so-called item left behind by the Tian Yao school. I think it's time for the demon king to make his move. With our strength, we are nothing in front of the demon king. It's time for the demon king to make his move. Su-yi looked straight at Akatsuki. There was a faint red light in his eyes. He said, as the new leader of the Tian Yao school, I can't seek justice for the Tian Yao school's ancestors and avenge them. I can't protect the students of the Tian Yao school. I feel guilty. I'm a man and I can't seek justice for myself. I've lived in vain. I feel regretful. His voice was sonorous. Su-yi's words were full of emotion, and he was telling the truth. If today was really a bad day, he would feel regretful, and he would have failed the demon king. Looking at Su-yi's expression, Akatsuki's expression was still very calm. His eyes were deep and unfathomable. I'm curious about the Tian Yao school, but I won't kill the person who saved my son just for the so-called item left behind by the Tian Yao school. On the contrary, I should thank you greatly. Then, Akatsuki smiled and looked at Su-yi. He said, this area is quite lively now. Many powerful people of the demon clan are looking for you. I believe you, but I don't know if the other powerful people of the demon clan will believe you. Strictly speaking, the place where you are staying is not under my control. I believe that it won't be long before other powerful people of the demon clan find it. That place is already a dangerous place. You saved my son, so you can stay in my Kanglan city for a while. Yes, stay in Kanglan city. Su-yi and Su-tianke looked at each other. Su-yi was pondering. If what Demon King Akatsuki said was true, staying in Kanglan City was indeed quite safe. Putting aside whether Demon King Akatsuki was reliable or not, there were powerful people of the Demon Clan searching for the students of the Tian Yao School everywhere. Staying in Kanglan City was indeed safer than falling into the hands of other powerful people of the Demon Clan. After pondering for a while, Su-yi also knew that Demon King Akatsuki's words were somewhat credible. The place where the students of the Tian Yao School were staying was not Akatsuki's absolute territory. Otherwise, Chi-Nu would not have been ambushed and killed by the ancient golden-striped scorpion. Even if the Tian Yao School could avoid a disaster today, it would soon be discovered by other powerful people of the Demon Clan. Even if they wanted to escape, where could a large group of rookies go in the barbaric demon forest? Akatsuki seemed to have seen Su-yi's concern, so he did not force him to stay. He waved his hand and said, "You are free. If you don't want to, you can leave now. You are a student of the Tian Yao School. For your sake, I will not touch you again. Take it as a thank you for saving my son, Chi-Nu. Let's go." Hearing this, Su-tianke raised his tail slightly, and his small eyes moved slightly. He was about to leave with Su-yi. Demon King. Su-yi was deep in thought. He did not leave with Su-tianke. Instead, he bowed to Demon King Akatsuki and said, "I have a favor to ask. Do you want elixirs or treasures? You saved Chi-Nu." "Just tell me," Akatsuki said with a smile. Su-yi raised his eyes and asked Demon King Akatsuki, "I don't want elixirs or treasures. I just want to ask a favor from you. Can you let the students of the Tian Yao School stay in Kanglan City for a while? We will leave when it is a little safer." Su-yi's words surprised Akatsuki and Su-tianke. Bringing the people of the Tian Yao School to this place was like sending sheep to a tiger's den. "Young man, aren't you afraid that I will kill all of you? Moreover, this is Kanglan City. You are all humans. How dare you come here to seek refuge?" Akatsuki looked at Su-yi. His eyes were filled with emotions. "If you agree, I will keep my promise. I have nothing to be afraid of." Su-yi smiled embarrassedly. Kanglan City was full of savage beasts. Demons and humans had always been like fire and water. However, savage beasts were everywhere in the savage demon forest. There was no difference. If he was in Kanglan City and had Akatsuki's protection, the situation would be much better. "Young man, you are very special and very bold. You surprised me. I have to say that I admire you for having such courage at such a young age." Demon Emperor Akatsuki looked at Su-yi and said seriously, "Give me a reason why I can protect the people of the Tian Yao School. Or give me something I can't refuse. Otherwise, why would I risk offending other powerful demons for the sake of irrelevant humans? If they know that the people of the Tian Yao School are in my hands, they will think that I have received some great benefit. Kanglan City will become the target of public criticism. You saved Chi-Nu, but it is not enough for me to protect the people of the Tian Yao School." Su-yi looked at Demon Emperor Chi-Nu. Although he was shrouded by an invisible pressure, his thin body was like a sharp blade that was stretched by a great force. There was light in his eyes. He said, "I can't give you a benefit that you can't refuse, and I can't give you a reason to protect the people of the Tian Yao School. However, I can give you a promise. 20 years from now, the Tian Yao School will repay the kindness of a drop of water with a gushing spring. 20 years is not long. A drop of water will be repaid with a gushing spring." Akatsuki smiled at Su-yi, shook his head, and said, "But such a promise is too empty. Today, your so-called Tian Yao School is hiding like a stray dog because of a great enemy. Why should I believe that the Tian Yao School will give me benefits in 20 years? What can I do in 20 years? Chapter 305. As soon as he finished speaking, Su-yi took out a jade bottle and handed it to Akatsuki. Akatsuki was surprised. After hesitating for a moment, he raised his hand, and a red light appeared in his palm. An invisible force wrapped around the jade bottle in Su-yi's hand and pulled it back into his hand. Akatsuki's gaze was fixed on the jade bottle in his hand. Something seemed to be surging in his eyes as he pulled out the cork. "Goodbye." Su-yi turned around and motioned for Su Tianke to leave with him. He was secretly waiting for something, and a trace of nervousness flashed in his eyes. "Wait!" Suddenly, Akatsuki's voice sounded. There was an obvious fluctuation in his voice. At this moment, Su-yi's eyes moved. He turned around and saw that Akatsuki was trying his best to remain calm. "My young friend, where did you get this?" "I got it by accident. This is the last thing I have, and the most precious thing I have." "Thank you for telling me the truth today, Demon Emperor," Su-yi replied calmly. At this moment, Su-yi's heart was not calm. The jade bottle contained nothing else but the mysterious spiritual liquid from the mysterious space. This time, Su-yi came out of the mysterious space just in case. He brought out a lot of elixirs and the mysterious liquid with him, just in case. Su-yi knew how powerful the Demon Emperor was, but Su-yi knew even more about the effects of the spiritual liquid. Everything in the mysterious space seemed to have a huge effect on the demon race. Su-yi knew that it was dangerous, but he had to do it for the sake of Tian Yao School. If he could tempt the Demon Emperor, perhaps the students of Tian Yao School would be able to escape this disaster. This was a gamble. Su-yi was gambling with himself. He was gambling on the trustworthiness of Demon Emperor Akatsuki and his luck. Akatsuki held the jade bottle in his hand and looked at Su-yi. His eyes were fluctuating. After a few seconds, a smile appeared on his face. He said, "My young friend, what is your name?" "My name is Su-yi," Su-yi said. "Su-yi." Akatsuki smiled and put the jade bottle away. He said, 20 years is not long, but it is not short either. I will protect the humans of Tian Yao School for 20 years. But remember, if you don't keep your promise after 20 years, I will not be polite." So, the Demon Emperor agreed? Su-yi looked at Akatsuki with joy. "I will bring the remaining people of Tian Yao School here," Akatsuki said with a nod. The official FO version of #first and sent. Thank you, Demon Emperor. Su-yi was moved and couldn't hide the joy on his face. "You don't have to thank me, and I don't have to hide it from you. Although your spiritual liquid is not a treasure, I can feel that it seems to be of great use to the demon clan. Since I have received benefits from you, I naturally have to pay the price." Hu Qing was very straightforward and didn't hide anything. He obviously felt that the spiritual liquid in the jade bottle was of great use to the demon clan, and also to him. He looked at Su-yi and continued, "But you also remember what you promised me. 20 years. I hope my risk today is worth it." Su-yi nodded. 20 years. This was the bet with Akatsuki and himself. In this besieged city, Kanglan City was indeed the best hiding place for the children of Tian Yao School. Sometimes, the more dangerous a place was, the safer it was. Akatsuki promised to protect the children of Tian Yao School for 20 years. Su-yi felt Akatsuki's straightforwardness and hoped that he could make the right bet. "You don't have to go back. I will arrange for the humans of Tian Yao School to be brought to Kanglan City," Akatsuki said. "This." Su-yi smiled bitterly and told Akatsuki that he had to go back to pick up the people. Otherwise, forget about picking them up. Shangguan-su, Xiong-lu, and the other 2 elders might have already made their last stand. Hearing this, Akatsuki was secretly moved, and a light flashed in his eyes. Then, under Akatsuki's arrangement, Su-yi, Su Tianke, and the black nether flying lizard returned. Along the way, the black nether flying lizard was very surprised and was even more polite to Su-yi. The Demon King had ordered it to pick up the humans and bring them to Kanglan City. Although it had many doubts, it did not ask. On the other hand, Su Tianke was also very surprised along the way. It seemed that he wanted to ask Su-yi something, but with the black nether flying lizard around, he did not ask. In the main hall of Kanglan City, after Su-yi and Su Tianke left, Akatsuki once again held the jade bottle that Su-yi had taken out. His expression was fluctuating. Big brother, that human boy is still wet behind the ears. You don't really believe what he said, do you? That he wants to protect a group of humans? A tall and thin figure came quietly. It was an old man in his 60s. He was wearing a yellow robe and his eyes were bright. He looked much older than Akatsuki, but he still called Akatsuki Big Brother. Wet behind the ears, but different. If what Chinu said was true, and he was able to capture that little scorpion alive, do you think this Su-yi is simple? Akatsuki smiled faintly. He looked at the old man in the yellow robe and said, the new leader of the Tian Yao school. I didn't expect the Tian Yao school to still exist. How powerful was the Tian Yao school in the past? If that boy is really the new leader of the Tian Yao school, how could he not have something left by the Tian Yao school? The heavens are helping us. Why don't we just kill these humans? Then, won't the benefits be ours? The old man in the yellow robe said. He was a little puzzled. They could just kill these humans directly, not to mention that it concerned the Tian Yao school. That boy said that the Tian Yao school didn't leave anything behind, Hu Qing said with a smile. Impossible. Humans have always been cunning. If the Tian Yao school didn't leave anything behind, how could it attract so many strong people for thousands of years? Rumor has it that the Tian Yao school in the past was so powerful that it shocked the whole continent. How could it not leave something behind? The old man in the yellow robe didn't believe it. He was sure that the Tian Yao school must have left some treasures behind. That human was absolutely unreliable. That boy must have lied. Akatsuki looked at the jade bottle in his hand. His eyes were slightly deep. He said, if the Tian Yao school's treasures were really so easy to get, they would have been taken long ago. As for whether the Tian Yao school left anything behind, it's not important. But that Su-yi, he is so young, which surprised me. Big brother, did you see something? The old man in the yellow robe asked. He knew his big brother Akatsuki's character. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such arrangements. He's only in the origin spirit realm, but the aura on his body is too strange. That kind of courage and bearing is 1 in a million among humans. Akatsuki seemed to be thinking about something. He said to the old man in the yellow robe, and that chicken, even I can't see through its origins. Strange, very strange. Big brother, if other guys find out that the Tian Yao school's people are in our hands, I'm afraid that it will cause endless trouble. The old man in the yellow robe said to Akatsuki. He was very worried. Now, many strong people of the Yao clan were looking everywhere for the survivors of the Tian Yao school. That day, someone had seen with their own eyes that many people from the Tian Yao school had escaped, and they were searching everywhere. Chapter 306. It's good that Big Brother knows. The yellow-robed old man did not ask any further. Keeping the jade bottle, Akatsuki looked at the yellow-robed old man and asked with interest, "What do you think of that human youth? That human kid?" The yellow-robed old man revealed a look of surprise. He had never had a good impression of humans, but since his big brother had spoken, there must be a deeper meaning behind it. After a moment of silence, he said, "I haven't come into contact with him, but from what I've seen, he seems to be extraordinary. He's only at the Yuan spirit stage, and he's not that old. Although he's still a little immature, for someone of his age and cultivation level, he's able to relax and be neither servile nor overbearing, and has a rather arrogant air about him. I'm afraid that even the most outstanding of the same generation from the one mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 factions would find it difficult to do so. His evaluation is not low. Do you think so too? Akatsuki said with a faint smile. The smile in his eyes appeared unfathomable, making it difficult for others to see through him. Let's talk about the facts. That human kid is not simple. The yellow-robed old man's expression was rather serious. He was talking about the facts. For ordinary warriors, let alone a mere Yuan spirit stage cultivator, even ordinary Yuan emperor cultivators would not be able to act so neither servile nor overbearing in front of his big brother. Others could be faked, but some temperaments could never be faked. That human kid is indeed not simple. Akatsuki said. He could feel that there was a special temperament on that human youth. It was something that flowed out from his bones, something that could never be faked. No matter how extraordinary he is, he's still a human. Big brother, are you really going to protect that group of humans for 20 years? This is going to be a big problem. He had not mentioned it before, but now that his big brother had brought it up, the yellow-robed old man could not help but bring it up again. Although there are some differences between us monsters and humans, Chi-Nu is about the same age as that human kid. I've heard a little about the Tian Yao School's legend. If there comes a day when the Tian Yao School can rise again, it will be a great help to our Kanglan city. If there comes a day when us old fellows are no longer around, Chi-Nu will not be without support. Akatsuki's eyes sparkled as he lowered his eyebrows, seemingly thinking about something. Big brother, don't tell me you want to leave that kid to Chi-Nu? The yellow-robed old man suddenly realized. He was shocked and said, but no matter what, that so-called Tian Yao School is made up of humans, and we are monsters. If there comes a day when the so-called Tian Yao School rises again, it will strengthen the power of humans, which is not good for us monsters. So what if it's a human? Now there are many eyes on our Kanglan city. I'm afraid those guys are waiting for an opportunity. As long as the opportunity arises, they will definitely not be polite. Therefore, for us, the danger that humans bring to our Kanglan city is far less than the danger that we monsters bring. If that kid is really extraordinary, maybe he really has a chance to soar into the sky. Akatsuki recalled the human youth in his mind. From the first time he saw that young man, he had a faint feeling that he was not an ordinary person. The more he got to know him, the stronger that feeling in Akatsuki's heart became. Of course, as for what will happen in the end, it will depend on whether that kid is really extraordinary, Akatsuki said calmly. The yellow-robed old man did not ask any more questions. He was worried about Chi-Nu, so he said, "How is Chi-Nu?" Golden Scorpion made it sound nice. He said that the little scorpion was still young, so he would be strict with him and was willing to apologize. I don't think this matter is that simple. It is very likely that Golden Scorpion personally instructed him to attack Chi-Nu. Chi-Nu is fine now. Akatsuki's gaze gradually darkened. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said, "It seems that some guys really think that I, Akatsuki, have a good temper. Someone must pay the price for this. I will settle this score thoroughly." In the canyon, Elder Shangguan Su and the others were already getting more and more worried. In particular, Elder Shangguan Su and the other two were already hesitating whether they should fight with all their might. The head %3, he is fine now. When Sui returned and said this to everyone, the crowd cheered. Shangguan Su, Xionglu, and Hubu all heaved a sigh of relief. What? We are going to Kanglan City? We are going to the Demon King's place. Later, when everyone heard about Su Yi's decision, they were all shocked and shocked. Going to the Demon King's place and living with the savage beasts day and night, no one dared to not imagine it. The Tian Yao School has already spread the news. Now there are many demon clan experts looking for us. Su Yi was not surprised by everyone's reaction. He told them what he had heard. Everyone was discussing and whispering. They knew the seriousness of the matter. However, if they were to go to Kanglan City, everyone had their reservations. No one would trust Demon King Akatsuki. Anyway, if we meet other demon clan experts, we will be in trouble. We have nowhere to go. Why don't we go to Kanglan City? I don't trust the Demon King either, but I trust Su-yi, Hu-chi said. He did not trust those Demon Clan experts either, but he trusted Su-yi. I trust Su-yi too. If we really have nowhere to go, why not go to Kanglan City? Then, Xiongzhan and the other young people expressed their opinions. They did not trust Demon King Akatsuki, but they trusted Su-yi. Therefore, they believed that Su-yi would not misjudge people. 3 elders, if there is no better way, I suggest we go to Kanglan City. The more dangerous the place, the safer it is. Su-yi knew that the final decision was still in the hands of the 3 elders at the moment. Although he was the new suzerain of Tianyao School, Su-yi knew that the 3 elders had the highest prestige in the Tianyao School. Although he was the suzerain, he was only a commander in name. Now, the only bloodline left in the Tianyao School were a group of rookies. Su-yi did not want any more accidents to happen. Can you be sure that Demon King Akatsuki does not want to kill us all? Elder Hu-chi raised his eyes and looked at Su-yi. There were only a few bloodlines left in the entire tribe of tiger hunters. He did not participate in the bloody battle because he wanted to preserve the last bloodline of the tribe of tiger hunters. There could not be any more accidents. If Demon Emperor Qi-Qing wants to catch all of us in one fell swoop, now is the best opportunity. Su-yi nodded. He understood Elder Hu-chi's concerns. Although he was not 100% sure, he believed in his intuition. Demon King Akatsuki was not a kind person, but he was trustworthy at the moment. If he wanted to kill them all, he could have done it long ago. There was no need to go to the trouble of sending them to Kanglan City. This place has been exposed. It is not safe and it is difficult to move. Anyway, there is a slim chance of survival. Why not go to Kanglan City and give it a try? At least there is a chance. Chapter 307. If that's the case, we might as well give it a try since it's almost certain death anyway. In the end, Xiong Lu, Hu Bu, and Shangguan Su nodded their heads. They knew that they had nowhere to go except Kanglan City. Elders, let's pack up as soon as possible. Su-yi heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the 3 elders nodding their heads. He told everyone to pack up as soon as possible. However, the string in the depths of Su-yi's heart tightened even more. At this moment, the future of the entire Tianyao School was in his hands. If he was wrong, the entire Tianyao School would be ruined. After a while, only Su Tiankei and Su-yi were left at the back of the valley. Do you believe Akatsuki? Su Tiankei asked Su-yi. It was inconvenient for him to ask on the way back. Half and half. I'm afraid that the Demon King has other plans. It's most likely for the sake of the Tianyao School. Su-yi shook his head. He only half believed Akatsuki. He knew that Akatsuki wouldn't believe him if he said that there was nothing left for the Tianyao School. You knew that, so why did you still go to Kanglan City? Su Tiankei looked at Su-yi, as if he was very interested in knowing everything. If I really left just now, I'm afraid that Akatsuki would be suspicious and think that there was really something left for the Tianyao School. That would be the real danger. Su-yi looked at Su Tiankei. If he really left with Su Tiankei in Kanglan City just now, Akatsuki would definitely think that there was something important left for them by the Tianyao School. It was easy to imagine what would happen then. Although he saved Chi Nu's life, it was nothing compared to a treasure. Do you think that Akatsuki won't be suspicious now? Su Tiankei smiled and raised his eyebrows slightly. Of course he'll be suspicious. In fact, he'll be very suspicious. Su-yi smiled and said confidently, but if we really go to Kanglan City, we'll be safe. If we're all in Kanglan City, Akatsuki won't be in a hurry. Everything will be under his control. He'll look for opportunities slowly and secretly. As long as the people of the Tianyao School are in Kanglan City, we'll be safe. At least, we'll be safe for a certain period of time. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yi's lips curled into a smile. Haha, I understand. Su Tianke was in a daze. When Su Yi finished speaking, he smiled and said, killing two birds with one stone, borrowing the strength of others. If the people of the Sky Demon sect are in Kanglan City, Qi Qing will think that the Sky Demon sect is still in his pocket. He will really protect the Sky Demon sect. That's right. Su Yi nodded and smiled. He handed a bottle of spiritual liquid to Akatsuki because he wanted Akatsuki to believe that the Tian Yao school had indeed left something behind. A while ago, the earth-shattering battle between the strong cultivators had made Akatsuki hesitate. It wouldn't be easy for him to get the things left behind by the Tian Yao school. If he tried to do it by force, he might end up making a fool of himself. As long as he was in Kanglan City, he would have patience. So, the Tian Yao school will be safe in the short term. But I'm afraid that after a long time, Akatsuki will find that he can't get any benefits at all. It'll be hard to say when that time comes. Su Tianke was quite surprised, but he was also worried. After a long time, even a demon emperor wouldn't be so easily fooled. Time. What I need now is time. The smile on Su Yi's face gradually disappeared and turned into a resolute one. Everything needed time. If he could become a strong cultivator in a short time, strong enough to make Akatsuki wary, then he would be able to resolve everything. But if he couldn't make any progress at that time, then he would be in real danger. Time, all he needed was some time. This made Su Yi nervous, but at the same time, he also had some confidence. With the supreme art of origin, the mysterious space, and the ancient scripture of the heavenly monster from the Tian Yao school, Su Yi believed that he would be able to rise and become a strong cultivator as long as he had some time. I will also recover as soon as possible. When the time comes, a little demon emperor won't be a problem. Su Tianke seemed to know what Su Yi was thinking. He looked at Su Yi with a domineering look and said, "Find me more spiritual herbs or something. After I take them, I can recover faster." Su Yi, how dare you? Before Su Tianke could finish his sentence, he let out a blood-curdling scream. His body flew out in a parabola in the air, and no one knew how far he fell. Then, in the cave, Su Yi called out the mysterious space again. I have good news and bad news. In the mysterious space, Su Yi informed the golden python, fiery scarlet demon mink, and the others about the complicated situation outside. He was about to head to Kanglan City. Su Yi estimated that he would be staying in Kanglan City for a while. The scarlet fire demon mink and the others had been in the mysterious space for a long time. He couldn't possibly stay there forever. Kanglan City was in the savage beast forest, which was a paradise for savage beasts. It was also the best place for savage beasts to train. Su Yi hoped that the golden python, white jade mystic bird, and the others could train there. In the short term, Su Yi hoped that he could become stronger. This kind of strength not only included himself but also the strength of the people around him. Su Yi knew very well that the golden python, white jade mystic bird, red fire demon mink, and the others were originally barbaric beasts with ordinary bloodlines. But now they were already extraordinary. They had already evolved and had the chance to become experts of the demon clan. We will follow Sir forever. The golden python, fiery scarlet marten, and the others declared. Their auras surged and their voices were like thunder. We can finally go out. Debao and Xiaoling were very happy. After holding it in for so long, they could finally go out. In the blink of an eye, Su Yi appeared from the back of the mountain with a dozen savage beasts. Everyone in the Tian Yao school was shocked. They didn't know where and when Su Yi had subdued these savage beasts. Along the way, they didn't see Su Yi subduing these savage beasts. They also didn't know where these savage beasts came from. I will share with you in the future. I don't know if everyone has packed up. Sui explained to everyone. He had already expected everyone to be surprised. There is nothing to pack, but there are some things that we can't take with us, Elder Hubu said. Everyone hadn't been here for long, so they didn't have many things with them. Most of the cultivation resources were in the interspatial bags of the three elders. However, the space in the interspatial bags was limited. A lot of the lost food was stored in the interspatial bag. They couldn't take much with them. Let's go to Kanglan City first. Sui nodded. The problem of food was easily solved in Kanglan City. Although they couldn't casually hunt savage beasts anymore, they shouldn't starve. Chapter 308. Tell the others that no one has come here today. Otherwise, kill them all. Following behind Sui, the dark nether-flying lizard gave an order to the savage beasts around it, ordering them to retreat. Sui didn't ride the flying savage beasts arranged by the dark abyss-flying lizard. Instead, he rode on the back of the white jade mystic bird. This white jade mystic bird doesn't seem simple. Shangguan Shiwei and Shangguan Xiu also accompanied Sui on the back of the white jade mystic bird. They had learned about the demon race and savage beasts since they were young. They felt that this white jade mystic bird was very different from ordinary ones. Looking at the silver spirit butterfly, hell rat, Debao, and Xiao Ling on the back of the white jade mystic bird, Shangguan Shiwei and Shangguan Xiu were both puzzled. These savage beasts didn't have high bloodlines, but their auras were extraordinary. They felt that there was something special about them, but they couldn't put their finger on it. Sitting cross-legged, Sui closed his eyes and rested. The fiery savage bird, white jade mystic bird, and silver spirit butterfly could fly. The hell rat, fiery red demon mink, Debao, and Xiao Ling were small and could ride on the white jade mystic bird. However, the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, golden python, snow jade barbaric ape, and barbaric nethervoid panther were all massive in size and unable to fly, so they could only follow Qi-Qing's group back to Tsanglan City. Is this the Kanglan City where the Demon King lives? At dusk, when the Tian Yao School's disciples arrived at Kanglan City, they were shocked by the magnificent city. They had never gone out before, so they had never seen such a magnificent city before. Under the lead of the Dark Abyss Flying Lizard and the Dark Abyss Flying Lizard, Sui and the Tian Yao School's disciples finally arrived at a mountain in the depths of Kanglan City. There were some simple buildings on the mountain. At dusk, the sun was setting in the west, and a ray of sunset light shone on the forest. The area was very large, and there were several mountains. There was a small river flowing by, and the water was blue and clear. There were exotic flowers and plants, and birds were singing and flowers were fragrant. There were also mountains and waterfalls like the Milky Way pouring down. What a beautiful place! Shangguan Xiu, Shangguan Shiwei, and a few other girls sighed in admiration. This place was extremely beautiful, and the scenery was pleasant. Shangguan Rock, Xiongzhan, and the rest were dumbfounded. They didn't think that there would be such a beautiful place in the Tsanglan City, which was filled with demonic beasts. The Demon Emperor has ordered that you can stay here and not run around. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. The Black Abyss Flying Lizard said a few more words to the black mythical beast before leaving. Is this place really safe? Elder Shangguan Su, Elder Xionglu, and Elder Hu Bu were still worried. After all, this was the land of the Demon Clan. As soon as they entered Kanglan City, they could feel the aura of many Demon Clan experts. At this moment, if Demon Emperor Akatsuki were to make things difficult for them, within Tsanglan City, they would not even have the slightest chance to resist. Since we're already here, let's take things as they come. We'll be staying here for a while, so let's pack up and settle down first, Sui said. Then, everyone began to pack up and settle down. These mountains were located in the depths of Tsanglan City. They were the places where the Tian Yao School's disciples would settle down. It seemed that humans had lived here before, and many simple buildings were left behind. After a simple packing, it was already night time. Everyone had to make do for the night. The next day, all the disciples in the courtyard began to help with the construction of the houses. Some 3- or 4-year-old children were also helping. Although these children were young, they were all martial artists. They had been building their foundation since they were young. Even a 3-year-old child would have astonishing strength. Moving bricks and stones would not be a problem for them. There was strength in numbers. In just 5 days, a large group of houses was completed. The courtyards were connected, and the disorder was picturesque. During these few days, no powerful demonic beasts came. No demonic beasts appeared in this area. However, the snow-jade barbaric ape, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the golden python had already arrived. It's done. Sui felt a sense of satisfaction as he gazed at the courtyard of the house that had been completed. The remaining disciples of the Tian Yao school finally had a place to settle down. Roar! A demonic beast roared, and a vigorous demonic beast appeared. It looked like a lion or a tiger with a strong body. Its head was round and large, and its whole body was red. Its whole body seemed to be covered with a layer of thin red armor, and its shiny golden mane covered its shoulders and chest. This was a demonic beast cub, but the aura that emanated from its body was ferocious and shocking. It had the aura of a king. Songlan Red Gold Beast. When such a demonic beast cub appeared, the disciples of the Tian Yao school immediately cried out in surprise. Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu, Elder Hu Bu, and the others all secretly changed their expressions. They had also heard that the demon king of Songlan City was a Songlan Red Gold Beast. This Songlan Red Gold Beast cub should be the one that Sui saved. Qi knew. Sui moved slightly. It was the Songlan Red Gold Beast cub that he had saved before. Qi Nu was very happy to see Sui and spoke in beast language. Human, I heard that you were here when I came out of seclusion. That's why I came to see you. I didn't expect it to be you. I'm afraid I'll have to stay here for a while. Thank you, Demon King, for taking me in. Sui was also very happy to see Qi Nu. Being able to have a place to stay in Songlan City had a lot to do with Qi Nu. You're welcome. You saved me, and my father will thank you properly. Qi Nu was very enthusiastic and thanked Sui again. Qi Nu spoke beast language while Sui spoke human language. Even so, they still chatted for a long time. Elder Shangguan Su and the others, who were watching from afar, could only stare with their mouths agape. Suddenly, Qi Nu looked at Sui. Red light flickered in his eyes, and battle intent surged out. You're strong, even stronger than me. However, I want to fight with you to train myself. What do you think? Qi Nu knew that Sui was very strong. Back then, he could directly capture the golden-patterned ancient scorpion alive. At his peak, his strength should be similar to the golden-patterned ancient scorpion. Qi Nu had battle intent. The human in front of him had a similar cultivation as him, and he wanted to train himself. This, Sui hesitated for a moment before nodding. He wanted to fight with Qi Nu. He said, "This place is not suitable. Let's go somewhere else." Although these hills were not small, Sui knew the scarlet pheasant's strength. Once a battle broke out, the newly built houses would be razed to the ground. All right, let's go somewhere else. Qi Nu was very happy and left with Sui. I want to go and watch the show too. Debao and Xiao Ling were very excited and wanted to go and watch the show. My lord, I want to go too. The Scarlet Fire Demonic Mink, Hell Rat, Barbaric Nether Panther, and the others were all interested and wanted to watch the show. They were very curious about the battle between their lord and the Songlan Golden Beast, a demon race cub. Is it convenient? Chapter 309. Let's go together. Qi Nu nodded. There was nothing inconvenient about it. We want to go too. Xiongzhan, Hu Qi, and the others were also very interested. Sui was going to fight with the Azure Water Gold Beast, so they couldn't miss it. No, you guys stay here. Don't go too far. Sui shook his head. He had promised the Demon King that the Tian Yao School's disciples couldn't run around in Kanglan City. The fiery red demon mink and the others were savage beasts, so there was no problem. An hour later, in a remote corner of Kanglan City, in a huge canyon. Come on, no need to be polite. I just want to fight, Chinu said. His body was covered in light, and then it expanded several times. Red light glittered, and he stood in front of Sui like a small mountain. Fight, Sui said. Once upon a time, he also wanted to fight with a demon cub of the same generation to see who was stronger. Now, an azure water gold beast cub was in front of him, and it wanted to fight. This made Sui want to fight too. When he captured the ancient golden-patterned scorpion cub alive, its strength was almost the same as Chinu's. That was because Sui used his trump card right from the start. Now, Chinu's injuries seemed to have recovered. Sui also wanted to test himself. If he didn't use his trump card, how far could he go? Roar! The crimson pheasant moved, and the crimson light on its body was like a vast and mighty ocean. Suddenly, an unparalleled blazing aura swept out, surging and surging, and the air seemed as if it had suddenly caught fire. In merely an instant, it was like a sea of fire was pouncing over. N+R, fight! Sui shouted. His eyes were dazzling like lightning. His hair fluttered behind him, and his vitality flowed through his wide meridians. He punched forward, shaking off the sea of fire. Chi-Nu waved his claw, and flames spread all over his body. A huge red claw stretched out, and under the sharp claw, a strong wind swept out, and some of the mountain rocks were crushed into powder. It was hot and fierce. Sui did not retreat. Instead, he advanced and raised his arms to meet the attack head-on. The two of them collided, and a strong gust of wind swept out in all directions. Rocks exploded, trees withered, and rubble flew everywhere. The scene was horrifying. A man and a beast engaged in a fierce battle. They collided repeatedly, causing sand and pebbles to fly everywhere. Milord's progress is astonishing. The golden python, silver spirit butterfly, and hell rat were watching from afar, their eyes trembling. An hour later, the intense battle finally calmed down, and the rumbling noises in the surroundings finally vanished. Good, this is so satisfying. Chi-Nu's gigantic body returned to normal. He was panting heavily, and the scales on his body had dimmed. There were many injuries on his body, and traces of blood were seeping out from some places. Sui was not much better. His hair was messy and his face was pale. However, compared to Chi-Nu, he was slightly better. After the battle, Sui was also tempering himself. He also tested the strength of the demon spirit truth, savage scripture, and heavenly tiger art. He discovered that all of them could suppress a barbaric beast. Even if Chi-Nu was a demonic beast cub, it would still be affected. This made Sui very happy. Let's continue after I recover. This is so satisfying. It was obvious that the scarlet pheasant was defeated. However, it was very happy. It was a battle to its heart's content. It wasn't easy for it to train itself. In Songlan City, it wasn't easy to find a cub of a barbaric beast with a similar cultivation level. Good, let's continue when the time comes. Sui was also very happy. The battle with Chi-Nu was also a form of tempering for him. Far away in the canyon, on a distant mountain peak, two figures quietly appeared. Their auras were concealed. Although they were standing there, it was difficult to see them clearly. One of them was an old man in a yellow robe. His eyes shone brightly. The other one looked to be in his 50s. He had a tall and sturdy figure. His skin was red, and his facial features were well defined. He had a pair of deep red eyes that emitted the aura of a king that could shake the world. Sui, what do you think? The middle-aged man spoke. He was wearing a golden robe and had an outstanding bearing. He was Demon Emperor Akatsuki. He's not simple. He's only at the first level of the Yuan Profound Realm, yet he was able to defeat Qi Nu. It seems like he still has some strength left. The yellow-robed old man's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He said to Akatsuki with a shocked expression, "Such a human youth. Even the elites of the same generation in the one mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 factions can't be compared to him. He seems to be much stronger than I imagined." Akatsuki's eyes were deep. He lowered his eyes and seemed to be thinking about something. He gave off an oppressive aura. Such a human youth will one day grow up to be a terrifying expert among the humans. If we kill him today, the humans will have one less expert in the future. The yellow-robed old man's eyes flashed coldly. Such a human youth was too strong. Once he grew up, he would be a great threat to the demon race. The demon race and the human race have already stopped fighting. It's no longer a critical period. Akatsuki raised his head slightly and smiled. He said to the yellow-robed old man, "Those barbaric beasts aren't ordinary either. There's a silver spirit butterfly, a hell rat, a golden python, a white jade mystic bird, a scarlet fire demon mink, and a fiery-eyed barbaric tiger. Their normal bloodlines aren't high, but their auras are very complex. I can't see through them." Could it be related to the Tian Yao school? The yellow-robed old man pondered. Tian Yao school. "I'm getting more and more curious," Akatsuki said slowly. Another day had passed. At night, the moon was bright and the stars were dim. "Grandpa, how are you now? Father, Mother, where are you? Are you still alive?" Beside the small river, the water gurgled. Under the cover of the night, Su-Yi sat alone by the river, looking at the ripples on the water. He was absent-minded. He was worried about his grandfather's injuries, and he missed his parents in this life. Not far away, Shangguan Shiwei walked over. Under the moonlight, her graceful curves were even more charming. She looked at the absent-minded Su-Yi, hesitated for a moment, and then slowly walked up to him. "Why are you here?" Su-Yi came back to his senses. He turned around and saw Shangguan Shiwei. His expression returned to normal, and he asked with a smile, "I saw you here, so I came over to take a look." Shangguan Shiwei looked at Su-Yi and asked, "Are you homesick?" "I'm really homesick." Su-Yi's answer was very direct. He was really homesick. He was worried about his grandfather's injuries. He was thinking about Su Wan, that girl, and Fatty Wong. He didn't know how they were doing. "It's been hard on you recently. If it weren't for you, I don't know how everyone would be doing. I thank you on behalf of everyone." Shangguan Shiwei sat on the ground beside Su-Yi and looked at Su-Yi. Her eyes were bright and dazzling in the dark night. She was very clear that from the time Su-Yi entered Spirit Ancient Village until now, so many things had happened. It was all thanks to Su-Yi's help. Otherwise, they wouldn't know what to do now. This time, they were able to stay in Songlan City because of Su-Yi's contribution. "It's not hard." Su-Yi smiled. Many things had happened during this period of time. He had encountered danger several times, but what he had gained was also amazing. Chapter 310. What do you plan to do next? After all, this is the barbaric demon forest and Kanglan City. It's not a long-term plan. Shangguan Shiwei raised her hand slightly and placed her slender and elegant hands gently in front of her knees. Her voice was like a puddle of water in the night sky, where the roars of beasts could be heard from time to time. It was like a cool breeze on a lake in early summer. "We'll talk about it when the time comes. Let's wait for this period of time to pass first." Su-Yi frowned. He knew that staying here was not a long-term plan, but for now, he had nowhere to go with the Tian Yao School's disciples. Shangguan Shiwei glanced sideways at Su-Yi. Ripples of light appeared in her clear and bright eyes, as if they could cause ripples in one's heart. After a while, Shangguan Shiwei sighed softly and said, You're already the Tian Yao school leader, but Elder Hu Bu of the tribe of tiger hunters, Elder Xiong Lu of the wild bear tribe, and Elder Shangguan Su all seem to have some doubts. I don't know what they're thinking. What do you plan to do? Su Yi smiled. How could he not feel that Elder Shangguan Su and the other two elders seemed to have some doubts about him being the new school leader? It seemed that if he wanted to completely become the Tian Yao school leader, he would have to pass this hurdle. But Su Yi could understand. In the past, the Spirit Ancient Village, the tribe of tiger hunters, and the wild bear tribe had been competing with each other for thousands of years. Elder Shangguan Su, Elder Xiong Lu, Elder Hu Bu, and the others naturally found it hard to accept that they were all disciples of the Tian Yao school, not to mention that an outsider had become the new school leader. Let's take it slow, Su Yi replied to Shangguan Shiwei. He hoped that everyone would be able to accept it after some time. In Su Yi's heart, he had no intention of becoming the Tian Yao school leader. However, he had promised the demon supremacy and obtained the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. Furthermore, he had always treated the Spirit Ancient Village as his second home. Only then did Su Yi shoulder this responsibility. Shangguan Shiwei didn't say anything else. She glanced at Su Yi and accompanied Su Yi to sit quietly. Her eyes looked at the stars in the sky as if she was thinking about something. Su Yi was speechless. He lay on the ground with his hands behind his head and a stalk of dried grass in his mouth. He looked up at the moon in the sky, thinking about something. About 2 hours later, Shangguan Shiwei stood up and looked at Su Yi, who was lying on the bed. She smiled sweetly and gently said to Su Yi, "Rest early." Su Yi suddenly stood up and looked at Shangguan Shiwei. "I need your help with something?" "What is it?" "There's no harm in saying it." Shangguan Shiwei was a little surprised. When did this fellow become so polite? Su Yi looked at Shangguan Shiwei and asked, "You should be cultivating the demon spirit truth, right? How do you know about the demon spirit truth?" Shangguan Shiwei was a little surprised at first, but then she seemed to recall that Su Yi was now the Tian Yao school leader. He had obtained great benefits in the heavenly Fei Grotto and caused such a shocking commotion. Perhaps it was related. "I need to take a look at your demon spirit truth," Su Yi said to Shangguan Shiwei. He wanted to understand the demon spirit truth that the Spirit Ancient Village was currently cultivating. He wanted to determine if the demon spirit truth that the Spirit Ancient Village was cultivating was as he expected. There were many differences between it and the demon spirit truth that he had obtained. The demon spirit truth is the strongest cultivation technique of the Spirit Ancient Village. Only the people of the Spirit Ancient Village can cultivate it. Shangguan Shiwei's expression was difficult, but she only hesitated for a moment and said to Su Yi, "You are the Tian Yao school leader. The demon spirit truth is also a cultivation technique of the Tian Yao school. I can give it to you. However, this cultivation technique is in the hands of Elder Shangguan Su. If you want to cultivate it, I'll go look for Elder Shangguan Su tomorrow. There shouldn't be too much of a problem." Hearing this, Su Yi smiled. He was afraid that Shangguan Shiwei would think that he wanted to cultivate the demon spirit truth. 5YC Unspecified Currency Current P Edition X Chapter HDQ Up %. There's no need to look for Elder Shangguan Su. I only need to take a look at the demon spirit truth, Su Yi said to Shangguan Shiwei. The cultivation techniques chant is enough. Shangguan Shiwei was astonished. The cultivation techniques chant was usually inscribed on the scroll by an expert. At the same time, the cultivation techniques aura would be inscribed as a primer. Ordinary cultivation techniques were still fine. However, the higher the level of the cultivation technique, it was impossible to cultivate it just by relying on the cultivation techniques chant. Su Yi smiled faintly. Hand seals began to form in his hand. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura spread out from Su Yi's body. A vast and ancient aura also spread out from his body. A slight demonic aura fluctuated. His eyes were like lightning, making people's hearts palpitate with just a glance. This is the demon spirit truth. When this aura spread out, Shangguan Shiwei's eyes were filled with shock as she looked at Su Yi. This was too inconceivable. This aura was clearly the demon spirit truth. However, this aura seemed to be far above the demon spirit truth. I've already cultivated the demon spirit truth. It was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School's schoolmaster. I have some doubts about it, so I want to take a look. Su Yi withdrew his aura and told Shangguan Shiwei the truth. Since he had already cultivated the demon spirit truth, he didn't have to worry about Shangguan Shiwei telling him the cultivation techniques chant. All right. Shangguan Shiwei calmed down. So Su Yi really did cultivate the demon spirit truth. It was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School's schoolmaster. Its aura seemed to be much stronger than the demon spirit truth that she cultivated. It seemed that Su Yi becoming the Tian Yao School's schoolmaster was something that was certain. Immediately, Shangguan Shiwei told Su Yi the cultivation techniques chant of the demon spirit truth. She no longer had any misgivings. So it's true. When he learned about Shangguan Shiwei's cultivation technique, Su Yi didn't make any comparisons and immediately discovered the problem. Su Yi discovered that for some reason, the demon spirit truth that the spirit ancient village had been cultivating was incomplete. It was missing some parts. Therefore, after he cultivated the demon spirit truth, he felt that there was a problem. What's wrong? Is there a problem with the demon spirit truth? Looking at Su Yi's expression, Shangguan Shiwei said, I once heard from my grandmother that the demon spirit truth had some small problems. It seems that a long time ago, when it was passed down, it was incomplete. I heard that the wild bear tribe's savage scripture and the tribe of tiger hunters' heavenly tiger arts were the same. I don't know why, but the ones that were passed down were incomplete. That's right. Su Yi smiled and nodded. His eyes revealed a smile. Shangguan Shiwei looked at Su Yi and was a little surprised. Rest early. I have something to do first. Looking at the sky, one night had unknowingly passed. The sky was already slightly bright. Su Yi's voice fell and he hurriedly left. Not long after the sky was slightly bright, Su Yi found Hu Qi and said, I want to meet everyone in the tribe of tiger hunters in the soul essence realm and above. The sooner the better. Chapter 3:11. Half an hour later, in the main hall, Su Yi saw Elder Hu Bu leading the hunting tiger tribe's group of close to 100 tribesmen. All of them looked at Su Yi with confusion in their eyes. I called everyone here because I have a set of techniques to pass on to everyone. It was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School's schoolmaster. Su Yi took the lead and told everyone the reason. Last night, Su Yi had thought that the Tian Yao School's disciples had temporarily settled down. At this time, the Tian Yao School needed to grow as quickly as possible and increase its strength. But the only thing Su Yi could think of was to pass on the real demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, savage scripture, and other techniques to the Tian Yao School's disciples. %L After learning the formula of the demon spirit truth from Shangguan Shiwei, Su Yi confirmed that the demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, and savage scripture that the spirit ancient village, tribe of tiger hunters, and wild bear tribe were currently practicing were all incomplete. Although these three cultivation techniques could still be cultivated, they were far inferior to the real, true demon spirit explanation, savage scripture, and heavenly tiger arts. What kind of technique was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School's schoolmaster? Hearing Su Yi's words, everyone was moved. Elder Hu Bu's eyes were full of expectation. He couldn't help but take a step forward and ask Su Yi. Looking at the crowd, Su Yi smiled faintly. He formed a hand seal and closed his eyes. Suddenly, when Su Yi's closed eyes opened again, a ray of light flashed in the depths of his eyes. In an instant, the aura around his body surged like the waves of the sea. The aura was terrifying. Roar! In the next moment, the shadow of a huge heavenly tiger covered Su Yi's body. The tiger's roar was ear-splitting, and a powerful aura filled the air. Su Yi's hair fluttered in the wind, and the sound of wind and thunder resounded. Heavenly Tiger Technique. When this scene appeared, Elder Tiger Steps was immediately shocked. The expressions of the other disciples of the tribe of tiger hunters turned into astonishment. They could all feel that this was definitely the Heavenly Tiger Technique that their tiger hunting tribe cultivated. However, compared to the Heavenly Tiger Technique that they cultivated, the power and aura of this technique were much stronger. This is the complete Heavenly Tiger skill. Su Yi withdrew his aura, looked at everyone's expression, and smiled. The real Heavenly Tiger Technique was something that the tribe of tiger hunters had been practicing. After practicing the complete Heavenly Tiger Technique, the disciples of the tribe of tiger hunters would be able to improve further. 3 days later, Su Yi found the wild bear tribe. Boom! In the hall, Su Yi's hand seals were condensed. His eyes were bright, and a vortex-like light gushed out. A terrifying ancient aura filled the air, as if it could suppress everything, and spread out in all directions. From Su Yi's body, a powerful aura filled the air, revealing an ancient pressure savage scripture. This is the savage scripture of our wild bear tribe. Elder Bear 6's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with shock. Su Yi was clearly using the wild bear tribe's savage scripture, but this aura was much stronger than the one that he cultivated. The complete savage scripture will be handed over to the wild bear tribe today. Su Yi smiled. The complete savage scripture would be given to the disciples of the wild bear tribe to cultivate. On the 7th day, Su Yi finally found the disciples of the Spirit Ancient Village. These days, Su Yi had found the tribe of tiger hunters, and then the wild bear tribe. The people of the Spirit Ancient Village had already received the news. Some people were curious and secretly inquired. Now that they saw Su Yi, they had already guessed most of it. I heard that the previous sect leader of the Tian Yao school left behind the complete savage scripture and heavenly tiger technique. Could it be that the demon spirit truth that we're cultivating is also incomplete? Some people whispered. These days, they had gathered a lot of information out of curiosity. Elder Shangguan Su also stared intently at Su Yi, his eyes filled with anticipation. The complete demon spirit truth will be handed over to everyone today. Hearing the whispers of discussion and looking at the gazes of Elder Shangguan Su, Shangguan Rock, and Shangguan Yu, Su Yi spoke. Of course, the complete demon spirit truth had to be handed over to the villagers of the Spirit Ancient Village. The demon spirit truth was related to the soul. Compared to the heavenly tiger technique and the savage scripture, it was harder to cultivate. Su Yi spent 5 days to hand over the demon spirit truth to everyone. We need to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time. Elder Shangguan Su said excitedly, as if he had obtained a treasure. After obtaining the complete demon spirit truth, he knew exactly what he had obtained. He needed to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time to digest it. Su Yi didn't find it strange. Elder Xiong Lu, Elder Hu Bu, and the others had already gone into seclusion. The people of the tribe of tiger hunters and the wild bear tribe were also cultivating in seclusion to comprehend the complete heavenly tiger technique and savage scripture. The villagers of the Spirit Ancient Village were all excited and chose to cultivate in seclusion. The place suddenly became much quieter. Only the figures of the barbaric heavenly leopard, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the other barbaric demonic beasts were left. Su Yi handed over the complete demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, and savage scripture to everyone. He knew that he was in Songlan City, but he didn't have too many concerns. The demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, savage scripture were all precious treasures. However, to Tsanglan City, they weren't of much use. Even if Demon Emperor Akatsuki took them, they wouldn't be of much use. However, it wasn't that Su-Yi wasn't worried that Demon Emperor Qi-Ching would have designs on the Heavenly Tiger technique. After all, if Demon Emperor Qi-Ching wanted to get his hands on the Heavenly Tiger technique and the Demon Spirit Insight, he would be able to exchange them for precious treasures. Su-Yi was gambling. He had once promised Akatsuki that after 20 years, the Tian Yao School would repay the favor of protecting him. Although they were in Tsanglan City, if Akatsuki felt that the Tian Yao School was mediocre, it would be another matter if Akatsuki would keep his promise. On the contrary, if Akatsuki felt that the Tian Yao School wasn't simple, perhaps the Tian Yao School's disciples would be safer in Tsanglan City. Brother Su-Yi, let's continue the battle. Coincidentally, Qi Nu came looking for him again. He wanted to continue the battle with Su-Yi to sharpen himself. In the previous battle, Qi Nu was injured, but he gained a lot. Only he knew what kind of benefits he gained. Okay, let's continue the battle. Su-Yi nodded. In the previous battle, Su-Yi also gained a lot. At the same place, a man and a beast engaged in an intense battle. It was so fierce that it even attracted the attention of many savage beasts. Their fierce eyes were filled with shock. In the end, Qi Nu was defeated. Su-Yi didn't hold back. Aside from using his powerful trump cards, he used his full strength. Awesome! I gained a lot from the two battles. I feel that I'm about to make a breakthrough. Let me go into seclusion for a period of time. After I make a breakthrough, we'll continue the battle. Qi Nu was very happy. He gained a lot and was preparing to make a breakthrough to the 3rd level of the demon spirit realm. I'll wait for you. I'll also go into seclusion for a period of time. Chapter 312. Ever since he left the barbarian city, he had been hiding from place to place. Although his progress along the way wasn't slow, he hadn't really calmed down to cultivate in seclusion. At night, after briefing the barbaric heavenly leopard, Debao, Shaoling, and some other things to take note of, Su-Yi found a small cave on the top of a mountain and planned to cultivate in seclusion. Without setting up any traps or worrying about the Tian Yao School's children, Su-Yi knew that even if he wanted to do something to Demon King Akatsuki, it would be useless. If Demon King Akatsuki really wanted to do something to the Tian Yao School, any arrangements would be useless. During this period of time, Su-Yi thoroughly felt that true strength was everything. Although he was now in Kanglan City, Su-Yi wasn't completely at ease with Demon King Akatsuki. Now that he had brought the Tian Yao School's children into Kanglan City, it wouldn't be so easy to bring them out in one piece. Su-Yi knew that unless he could rapidly rise up in a short period of time and become an expert strong enough to make Demon Emperor Qi-Ching fear him, he would be in big trouble at that time. Along the way, Su-Yi had fought with many of the younger generation, such as Hu Qi, Xiongzhan, the demon race's cub, the golden-patterned ancient scorpion, and Qi Nu. Su-Yi had a certain understanding of his own strength and valued the Origin Supreme technique more. However, this was far from enough. Those super experts of the Heavenly Monster sect were his great enemies. Those demon emperors and origin emperors that he had met previously would one day step into the sacred mountain to seek justice. Relying on his current cultivation base, he was still too far away. It was far from enough. This made Su-Yi have to work hard. He must rise up quickly, cultivate the ancient scripture of the heavenly demon, and the 3rd move of the Mad Dragon's 3 blades, 8 Baron Fury, etc. In the tiny cave, Su-Yi muttered to himself. While he had time, it was time to cultivate the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. He had yet to master the 3rd strike of the Berserk Dragon 3 strikes. Up to now, he had only mastered 1 kick. Now, they could only stay in Tsanglan City, unable to leave. Su-Yi felt that instead of thinking too much, it would be better to calm down and focus on cultivating. He would improve his strength and put it into action. He could not afford to waste time. At this moment, if an expert were to know that Su-yi had only cultivated for a short period of time and had already reached level 1 origin spirit realm, he would be able to easily capture a level 2 demon spirit realm demon clan's infant golden patterned ancient scorpion. However, Su-yi wasn't satisfied and even felt that it was too slow. They would be flabbergasted. This was already abnormal enough, but Su-yi still wasn't satisfied. How could he not be satisfied? Was he trying to let others live? Soon, Su-yi calmed down and immersed himself in cultivation. He wasn't impatient and his heart was clear. By cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra, Su-yi had already laid down the foundation. He had successfully cultivated the Heavenly Tiger Art, Savage Scripture, and Demon Spirit Truth. However, this was only the foundation of cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. The Heavenly Tiger Art, Demon Spirit Truth, and Savage Scripture were just a part of the vast Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. It was said that if the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was cultivated to greater mastery, it would shock the heavens and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. Shock the heavens and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. These 6 words were enough to prove the power and vastness of the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. The image of the Heaven Fei, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of creation, the image of creation, the heavens, earth, and man. The heavens and earth are enshrouded in mist, all things are mellow, the image of the image is taken directly, the function of the image is read directly, the great change is the mystery, the unity of the 5 elements becomes the myriad, the 3 of heaven, earth, and man become one, the rotation of the stars changes, the universe settles, the Een plate has no restraints, sitting cross-legged. Su-yi began cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. His hand seals condensed as light emitted from his body. The Heavenly Tiger Art, Savage Scripture, and Demon Spirit Truth were the foundation of the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. The Heavenly Tiger Art was force, the Savage Scripture was strength, and the Demon Spirit Truth was spirit. 5 genuine H-first tier release. The Heavenly Tiger Art focused on force and relied on it to suppress all eternity. The Savage Scripture focused on strength and used strength to destroy all dharma. The Demon Spirit Truth focused on spirit and used the soul to guide the might of the myriad beasts. The image of the Heaven Fei, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of creation, the image of the heavens, earth, and man. Su-yi was immersed in his cultivation as his aura fluctuated slightly. It was not time, but a demonic aura emanated from him. It was demonic but not evil. Soon, Su-yi opened his eyes. His eyes were suffused with light that resembled lightning. It was as though the true spirits of the myriad beasts were twinkling in his eyes. The Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra's power and mysteriousness had already been revealed just from the beginning of his cultivation. The Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was very difficult to cultivate. Just the conditions required to cultivate it were enough to make one sigh. The requirements on one's body and soul were nearly perverse. Especially the requirements on one's soul. The conditions were absolutely perverse. However, Su-yi happened to satisfy these perverse conditions. It was as though the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was tailor-made for him. As he immersed himself in his cultivation, Su-yi forgot everything. His mind was calm as all he felt was enlightenment. Back then, Su-yi was unable to cultivate because his body was unable to store yuan qi. It was not because he was stupid. On the contrary, to be able to cultivate the primordial chaos supreme technique at the essence soul realm, Su-yi's talent and intelligence was self-evident. He was even able to cultivate the royal grade movement technique, the rising oscillating 100 transformations step. Even the mysterious person at the bottom of the 100,000-foot cliff was astounded. As time slowly passed, Su-yi completely immersed himself in a wondrous state of enlightenment. He let go of everything except for cultivation. This was also a form of tenacity and perseverance. The Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was very difficult to cultivate. No matter how talented a person was, it was difficult to master it in a short period of time. However, to warriors, such cultivation and enlightenment was a form of enjoyment. Su-yi was oblivious to the time as he immersed himself in his cultivation. Light flickered as energy fluctuated around Su-yi's body, bringing with it a kind of demonic but not evil aura. It lingered around his body, fluctuating on the surface of his body. Different kinds of light flowed into his flesh, as if it was condensing some kind of mysterious energy and refining it. This energy was demonic but not evil. It was as though a seed had been planted in Su-yi's body. It was as though it had a life of its own as it slowly took root and sprouted. Within the cave, Su-yi, who was sitting cross-legged, was glowing. His body looked even more like a warm jade. As time passed, the cave became very quiet. No demonic beasts came to disturb him. 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. The Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra used the savage scripture, demonic spirit truth, and heavenly tiger art as its foundation. It used force, power, and spirit as its foundation. The three fused together, from the inside to the outside and from the outside to the inside. The demonic aura on Su-yi's body was getting denser and denser. His body was getting more and more translucent. It was as though he was being baptized by a mysterious energy. If there was an expert here right now, they would definitely be shocked. Is this still a youth in the first level of the demon spirit realm? How could his aura reach such a level? 25 days, 1 month. Chapter 313. But in the barbaric demon forest, it caused a lot of commotion. The Tian Yao school had already spread the news of the arrival of those super powerhouses and the fierce battle that seemed like it was going to destroy the heavens and the earth. It alarmed many people. The news was even quickly spreading throughout the continent. The Tian Yao school actually still exists in this world. The Tian Yao school still has descendants. Is this true? In this world, the powerhouses and giants were all shocked when they heard the news. For a time, the land of the Tian Yao school that had been bathed in blood was no longer peaceful. From time to time, an obscure aura descended, and powerhouses came to search. In the small cave, Sui forgot about everything else. He forgot that he was in Kanglan City, forgot about the Tian Yao school, forgot about Barbarian City, forgot about his grandfather's injuries, and only focused on cultivating the ancient scripture of the heavenly demon. Wisps of demonic aura filled the air. In Su-yi's breath, wisps of energy fluctuations lingered between his mouth and nose, with a special rhythm. This energy was accompanied by the demonic aura. It was demonic but not evil, and there was also an invisible pressure that gradually enveloped Su-yi. In the end, the energy gathered around Su-yi's body and formed a dragon-shaped pattern that looked like a dragon but wasn't exactly a dragon. It's strange, very strange. At some point, not far from the small cave where Su-yi was cultivating in seclusion, 2 figures quietly appeared on a towering mountain peak. They were the demon Emperor Akatsuki and the yellow-robed elder. The yellow-robed elder was obviously a demon emperor. He looked into the cave as if he could see through everything. His eyes trembled slightly, and he said, "This kid is human, but his aura seems to be related to us demons. As far as I know, the rise of the Tian Yao school had something to do with the Yao clan. This kid might really be the new school master of the Tian Yao school. The descendants of the Tian Yao school have been living in seclusion for thousands of years, but they still exist in this world," Akatsuki said. He had heard some rumors about the Tian Yao school. Many people outside are looking for the Tian Yao school. Many human powerhouses have also arrived. I didn't expect that so many people would be alarmed and cause such a big commotion, the yellow-robed old man said. We went out for a walk. For the time being, no one will suspect Kanglan City. Akatsuki said. The yellow-robed old man smiled. He knew that his elder brother's wisdom was extraordinary. Obviously, the people of the Tianyao school were all in Songlan City, but he deliberately went to show his face. It seemed that he was also interested in the Tianyao school, so that the people nearby wouldn't be suspicious. Looking into the cave, the yellow-robed old man's eyes moved for a while. He said, "I heard that Chi Nu is in seclusion again. Is he going to make another breakthrough?" "He should be making another breakthrough." Akatsuki nodded, but there was a slight frown between his eyebrows. He said, "But I still can't compare with this kid. This kid is too mysterious. I can't see through him." Boom! Before Akatsuki could finish his words, thunder suddenly roared in the sky outside the small cave. Walala! Immediately, the energy between heaven and earth fluctuated violently in an instant. As the thunder roared, the energy of heaven and earth descended from all directions. The energy of heaven and earth was very strange. It carried a kind of vast coercion, as if it had come from ancient times. Immediately, it gathered towards the cave. "What's going on?" The sudden commotion caused the yellow-robed old man to be startled. His face was filled with astonishment. This pressure had actually affected him somewhat. Chi Ching's gaze was fixed on the cave in an instant. At this moment, the oppressive energy in the surroundings was gathering towards the cave. There was only a youth in seclusion within the cave. "If I'm not mistaken, it's caused by that kid." Akatsuki's expression changed as his eyes lit up. "How is that possible? That human kid is only at first-level essence spirit stage. How can he cause such a commotion?" The yellow-robed old man could not believe it. How could a first-level essence spirit stage human kid cause such a huge commotion? Rumble! While the yellow-robed old man was still in disbelief and shock, dark clouds suddenly gathered in the sky. The energy of heaven and earth grew more and more intense. Dense demonic chi pervaded the air, as if it was coming from the heavens. More and more dark clouds gathered as lightning flashed. In the end, thunder rumbled and thunder roared, as the rumbling of thunder resounded throughout the land. Such an unforeseen event immediately attracted the attention of the entire Kanglan city. Numerous barbaric demon beasts walked out, their ferocious eyes looking towards the direction of the commotion as they trembled in fear. The weaker barbaric demon beasts were suppressed to the point of prostrating on the ground. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, the earth trembled, the mountains and rivers swayed, and huge waves surged into the sky. A terrifying aura descended from the heavens, enveloping the entire Kanglan city. Both inside and outside Kanglan city, a large number of barbaric demon beasts trembled in fear from the depths of their hearts. 8 figures of beasts appeared, roaring as they approached the small cave where Su-Yi was in seclusion. These 8 beasts were none other than the Golden Python, Fire-Eyed Barbaric Tiger, Debeo and Shaoling. These 8 beasts were the barbaric demon beasts that had obtained the inheritance from the mysterious space. At this moment, for some reason, they did not seem to be suppressed by the terrifying aura and commotion. 8 figures of different sizes stood guard in front of Su-Yi's small cave, automatically protecting Su-Yi. This is a phenomenon, a heaven and earth phenomenon. This kid has caused a heaven and earth phenomenon. On the mountain peak, the yellow-robed old man's face was filled with shock. Such a commotion was no ordinary commotion, but a heaven and earth phenomenon. The earth trembled, the heavens collapsed, and the earth cracked. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. This was a heaven and earth phenomenon. When a heaven and earth phenomenon occurs, something extraordinary will definitely appear. Akatsuki's gaze finally couldn't help but fluctuate. His eyes shone brightly, and his face was filled with shock. With that human kid's strength, even if he broke through, he wouldn't be able to cause such a commotion, let alone a heaven and earth phenomenon. Look at square root main segment G and upper G $O. The yellow-robed old man was stunned. Could it be that the kid has cultivated a heaven-grade martial technique? It was rumored that when a heaven-grade martial technique appeared, a heaven and earth phenomenon would appear. The yellow-robed old man was a little suspicious. That's not possible. No matter how talented he is, it's impossible for him to cultivate a heaven-grade martial technique with his cultivation at the origin spirit realm. Akatsuki was very certain that it was impossible for someone at the origin spirit realm to cultivate a heaven-grade martial technique. No matter how talented he was, it was impossible. After pondering for a moment, Akatsuki's eyes lit up. Heaven-grade cultivation technique. That kid might have cultivated the legendary heaven-grade cultivation technique. Heaven-grade cultivation technique. The yellow-robed old man was shocked. Although he was from the demon race, he knew what a heaven-grade cultivation technique represented to humans. It was an existence that only existed in legends. It was rumored that when a heaven-grade cultivation technique appeared, the mountains would crumble and the earth would split. That's not right. That kid has already reached the demon spirit realm. How could he have only cultivated a heaven-grade cultivation technique? Shortly after, the yellow-robed old man shook his head. He was flabbergasted as he muttered, "Could it be that he scattered his cultivation and started from scratch? If he scattered his cultivation and started from scratch, that would be even more terrifying." Chapter 3:14. Rumble. Above the small cave, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Demonic aura filled the sky. The energy spun like a vortex and became more and more frenzied as it rushed into the cave. Within Kanglan City, the deafening roars of beasts were heard. Together with the thunderous roars, it was earth-shattering and reached the clouds. Many powerful savage beasts were alarmed. They followed the direction of the source of the energy and looked towards the mountain. Many of the Tian Yao school's disciples who were in seclusion had already woken up. There were also a few people who were in secluded meditation who were awakened. The shocking commotion caused them to rush over. Under the pressure of the pressure, their hearts began to pound as they stared at the small cave in astonishment. "What's going on?" Elder Shangguan Su, Elder Xiong Lu, and Elder Hu Bu stood in unison. Even they were trembling in fear at the shocking commotion. Dark clouds covered this part of the sky. Lightning was raging and the aura was terrifying. Akatsuki and the yellow-robed elder did not care about the changes. Their eyes were fixed on the cave. They felt that the pressure inside the cave was even more terrifying. Something's wrong. The yellow-robed elder narrowed his eyes as he looked at the small cave from afar. He suddenly spoke, and his heart skipped a beat. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, the mountain where the small cave was located trembled. It was like a volcanic eruption. It suddenly exploded, and countless gravel shot into the sky. Dust flew everywhere. The mountain collapsed and the ground cracked. When the mountain exploded, a terrifying aura surged out. It was accompanied by a surging demonic aura that shot into the sky. At the same time, light filled the air from the exploded mountain. A figure was wrapped in the energy of heaven and earth. Demonic aura lingered, and the figure was suspended in the air. The figure was surrounded by a dazzling light. However, it was not difficult to see that the figure was carrying a sword on his back. He was about 15 or 16 years old. His long black hair was draped over his shoulders, but it could not cover his handsome features. His eyes were closed, but it could not hide his unique temperament. He was slightly arrogant and evil. This evil had nothing to do with the demonic aura around him. It came from the figure himself. Who else could this figure be other than Su Yi? Rumble. When Su Yi's figure appeared, the dark clouds in the sky suddenly turned pitch black. The dark clouds spread out and silently covered this part of the world, causing the ground to instantly sink into darkness. When the black cloud appeared, the yellow-robed old man and Akatsuki's pupils immediately shrank. Boom! The void trembled for no reason as a formless pressure spread out, causing one's soul to tremble uncontrollably. All the beasts in Songlan City seemed to have sensed something at this moment. All of them fell silent and began to tremble on the ground. Chi-la-la, dark clouds surged and lightning flashed, illuminating the dark heaven and earth. This dazzling thundercloud that occupied the sky emitted a powerful lightning pressure that caused the hearts of all the beasts to palpitate and their hairs to stand on end. All of them felt a chill in their hearts. No, this is not a vision of heaven and earth. This is a tribulation. Suddenly, Akatsuki couldn't help but tremble as he exclaimed. His bright eyes stared at the figure of the young man sitting cross-legged in the sky far away. His eyes fluctuated violently. Chi-la-la, however, before Akatsuki could finish his sentence, bolts of lightning from the black thundercloud connected the heavens and the earth and fell directly on Sui. It was extremely terrifying. This was a tribulation, not an ordinary bolt of lightning. It was a punishment from the heavens. Rumble, all of a sudden, with Sui as the center, bolts of lightning erupted violently and endlessly. Bolts of lightning came from all directions crazily. They brought with them the pressure of heaven and earth, as if they were going to destroy everything. What's going on? Sui, be careful. All the children of the Tianyao school looked up at the terrible lightning falling. Their throats rolled and they swallowed their saliva. They gasped for Sui. Just as everyone was sucking in a breath of cold air for Sui, the terrifying lightning that could destroy everything stopped less than a foot away from Sui's head. The lightning was entrenched and dazzling, making people feel scared just by looking at it from afar. But at this moment, the lightning that gathered with the terrible pressure of the pressure stopped just a foot away from Sui's head. The lightning seemed to have felt something and was flinching. Everyone's gazes trembled. Their faces were filled with shock as they stared at the young man who was sitting cross-legged under the lightning. No one knew when, but at this moment, the young man's body was filled with a mysterious brilliance from inside out. This brilliance was dazzling and hazy, exuding a strong and oppressive spiritual energy. It seemed to be able to isolate space and spread out a bright red light. Boom! At this moment, a domineering and majestic aura erupted from the young man's body, like an emperor that could not be provoked. The lightning was entrenched, and the rumbling of thunder was endless. But the bright lightning did not dare to descend, and did not dare to get close to the hazy brilliance. This was the power of lightning, the thunder tribulation, the lightning that represented heaven's punishment. But at this moment, facing the hazy brilliance around Sui, it was deeply afraid and did not dare to get close. This scene was seen by many people at this moment, and they were all shocked and dumbfounded. The yellow-robed old man on the mountain peak in the distance was dumbfounded, and his face showed unprecedented horror. Akatsuki was also shocked, and he was stunned. This was the tribulation lightning, the power of lightning that represented heaven's punishment. It was actually afraid and did not dare to descend, as if it did not dare to punish the young man. Looking at the terrible scene in front of him, the lightning that represented heaven's punishment did not dare to punish the young man. Thinking of this, Akatsuki could not help but tremble in his heart. Boom! The mysterious brilliance around Sui's body permeated from the inside out, as if it felt that the lightning in the void was unwilling to dissipate. The red light surged out, and a domineering and destructive power surged out, as if it was a warning and also a roar. Under such a domineering and destructive power, the bright lightning trembled and began to retreat. Chi! At this moment, Sui's closed eyes suddenly opened, and a vortex of light surged out of his originally deep and bright eyes. An array of light flashed. In an instant, a terrifying aura filled the air from Sui's body, and an ancient aura surged like waves, as if it could suppress all directions and spread into the space. Looking at the lightning in the void, Sui seemed to have woken up at this moment, and felt the terrifying lightning, and his eyes trembled. Tribulation, is this the thunder tribulation? Su Yi's heart trembled. Back then, he had felt the terrifying movement when the blood jade spirit ginseng was going through the tribulation. At this moment, he felt the movement personally, and it seemed to be much more powerful. Chapter 3:15. Amidst the lightning that filled the sky, Su Yi could vaguely sense that the lightning tribulation was triggered by him, and that its target was him. During this period of time, he had been cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra in seclusion. Now that a lightning tribulation had appeared, Su Yi's heart palpitated. Could it be the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra? Su Yi's heart palpitated. He had heard of legendary heaven-grade cultivation techniques that could induce phenomena, but even if the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was a legendary heaven-grade cultivation technique, he had never heard of a heaven-grade cultivation technique that could induce a tribulation. However, this was a lightning tribulation. Su Yi knew that if he avoided the lightning tribulation, it would be detrimental to him. Regardless of the reason, he would be declared a failure. It was just like the blood jade spirit ginseng back then. Despite knowing that experts were searching for it everywhere, it had no choice but to face the tribulation. As he sensed the resplendent lightning that filled the sky, Su Yi could sense that the lightning seemed to be extremely beneficial to him. However, the might in his body had just emanated from the mysterious space to prevent the lightning from descending. Withdraw. Su Yi bellowed in his heart as he converged the might of the mysterious space in his body. He wanted the lightning to descend so that he could survive the tribulation. The oppressive might of the lightning left one's heart palpitating and hair standing on end. However, Su Yi could sense that the lightning was extremely beneficial to him, so there was no way for him to dodge it. As though it sensed Su Yi's thoughts, the domineering and destructive might in the mysterious space converged and vanished. Chi-la-la. When the domineering and destructive might in Su Yi's body vanished, the lightning in the black clouds that lingered in the void immediately began to churn wildly as though it had been pardoned. Whoosh! The stagnant lightning instantly descended as winds stirred in the void. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled as the thick black clouds wreaked havoc. Bolts of lightning constantly struck Su Yi's body. The entire space quietly darkened amidst the dazzling flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. It was as if the entire world had soundlessly sunk into darkness, with only the hair-raising flashes of lightning shuttling back and forth. Chi-la, terrifying bolts of lightning constantly smashed down, ruthlessly striking Su Yi's body. Quite a number of scattered lightning bolts landed on the surrounding mountains and exploded, destroying them. Mountains crumbled as the earth quaked and the mountains quaked. Everyone held their breaths in anticipation. They were so horrified that their hair stood on end as they constantly trembled. Resplendent bolts of lightning bolts came crashing down. Su Yi's body was covered with electric arcs, sizzling as they covered the surface of his body. The sound of thunder kept ringing in his ears, and in an instant, Su Yi's clothes were destroyed. However, that was all there was to it. The lightning could destroy everything, but when it landed on Su Yi's body, it only destroyed Su Yi's clothes in an instant. It did not seem to have much effect on Su Yi's body. The dense electric arcs made the surface of Su Yi's body even more crystal clear. The pores on Su Yi's body could be seen faintly absorbing the power of lightning. The lightning bolts shuttled between Su Yi's flesh and blood, accompanied by a demonic aura. Originally, a seed of a mysterious power had been planted in Su Yi's body, and it was growing vigorously. At this moment, the lightning bolts seemed to be the catalyst, allowing Su Yi to sit cross-legged in the air, supported by the mysterious power. His body was sparkling and translucent, like a beautiful jade. Inside Su Yi's body, the lightning bolts crackled, resonating with his limbs and bones. Every bone, every piece of flesh, and every cell was trembling. That's the aura of the heavenly tiger art. It's the aura of the Savage Sutra. It's the aura of the true demon spirit. The Tian Yao school's disciples exclaimed as they watched the shocking scene. They could feel the aura of the heavenly tiger art, the Savage Sutra, and the true demon spirit from Su Yi's body. At this moment, the lightning bolts seemed to be refining the heavenly tiger art, the Savage Sutra, and the true demon spirit together. Within Su Yi's body, as the lightning bolts fell, the three types of power, force, spirit, and force, were completely integrated into his bones. Everything was incomparably mysterious. Unbelievable! He actually attracted the lightning tribulation at the demon spirit realm. This human is too dazzling. If he's left alive, I'm afraid he'll become a huge threat to the demon race in the future. The yellow-robed old man's eyes were filled with shock. He had cultivated for so many years, but he had never heard of or seen such a dazzling youth. Once such a youth matures, how many people in the demon race would be able to suppress him? Let's wait and see. This is a tribulation, we can't interfere. Akatsuki's eyes moved. His expression was complicated. This human youth was indeed too dazzling. If he was allowed to grow, he would be terrifying. But now wasn't the time to interfere. This was a tribulation, and no one dared to provoke it. Even he didn't dare. When the tribulation descended, no one dared to approach it. Interfering with the tribulation was a heaven-defying act. It was even possible to forcefully attract an even more terrifying tribulation. Once you're involved with someone else's tribulation, you'll be provoking karma, and you'll be burying a huge threat for yourself. Ka. Suddenly, the power within Su Yi's body seemed to have reached its limit. Lightning filled Su Yi's body, an array of light spread out. In an instant, a violent aura shot up into the sky, straight into the clouds. Bang, 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 the surrounding heaven and earth shook, and the space trembled. The entire Kanglan city was also affected. Cracks started to spread out on the ground. Around Su Yi's body, rays of light spread out, and energy condensed, forming the shadow of a huge barbaric demon beast. Under everyone's gaze, the huge barbaric demon beast stretched across the sky. Half of its body was entrenched in the thick thunderclouds, and it looked like an ancient dragon. A mighty aura spread out, causing everyone to tremble. Look. Zheng, edition #chapter on Cool Craftsman. The beast's roar was like thunder, and the shadow of the beast roared. Then, the shadow of the dragon dissipated, and turned into a huge bird. Like a phoenix, it covered the sky and swooped down. Then, the ferocious bird turned into a strange beast. It looked like it came from ancient times. Surrounded by lightning, it towered in the sky, and it was terrifying. When it looked down, even Demon Emperor Akatsuki was secretly trembling. Thousands of demonic beast shadows changed, and in an instant they alternated. Although they were all shadows, they were lifelike, and they even had the power of a demon. It was as if they came from ancient times, and they kept appearing in the sky. In the sky, the sound of lightning and thunder had disappeared without anyone noticing. The thousands of demonic beast shadows appeared, and their aura was impressive, causing the heaven and earth to rumble. It was as if the supreme demon had descended. In Kanglan City, thousands of beasts prostrated themselves, trembling in fear. Under countless gazes, Su Yi, who was sitting cross-legged, stood in the sky, supported by a mysterious force. The thin figure gradually appeared. His body was thin and straight, and he carried a sword on his back. His whole body was hazy, and he was shining brightly. The majestic aura that spread out from his body, and his demonic aura soared into the sky. It was as if it could break through the sky, suppress everything, and sweep in all directions. Chapter 316. Lightning Tribulation. This guy isn't an ordinary human. Su Diang's tiny figure appeared not far away as he looked at Su Yi in shock. However, The pressure of the lightning tribulation didn't seem to have much effect on him. As Su Yi's voice faded, everything around him calmed down. The mysterious energy around him also disappeared, causing Su Yi's body to fall from the sky. Not good, however, it only lasted for a few seconds. In an instant, Su Yi's face changed and Yuan Qi gushed out from his feet when he was 10 feet away from the ground. Thump! Thump! As his body fell, Su Yi staggered a few steps back before stabilizing his body. The saber and sword on his back also fell to the ground. Roar! Qi Nu appeared and went straight for Su Yi. Brother Su Yi, what kind of technique did you cultivate to cause the lightning tribulation to stop you? Qi Nu's eyes were filled with shock as he spoke in beast language. Scarlet light fluctuated from his body. Qi Nu came out of seclusion and saw the terrifying commotion. He was attracted by it and saw Su Yi. At this moment, he couldn't hide the shock in his eyes. I cultivated a cultivation technique that I obtained by accident. I didn't expect it to cause such a huge commotion. Su Yi was also surprised. He didn't expect that cultivating the heavenly Fey ancient scripture would cause a lightning tribulation to stop him. No wonder it was said that the heavenly Fey ancient scripture could shock the heavens and earth. Oh, a breakthrough in our relationship. Immediately after, he sensed that Qi Nu's aura seemed to have improved. Su Yi wasn't too surprised. Before Qi Nu went into seclusion, he had already said that he was preparing to make a breakthrough. Compared to you, the difference is too great. Did you also make a breakthrough? Qi Nu felt a little helpless. He originally thought that after he made a breakthrough, he could challenge Su Yi to a duel. At that time, he should be able to win once. Although a third-level demon spirit realm cultivator compared to a first-level origin spirit realm cultivator was a bit of a bully, Qi Yan only wanted to win once. But at this moment, sensing the aura on Su Yi's body, Qi Nu reckoned that his plan had failed. This guy had obviously taken another step forward. Advance a little, a little, a little, Su Yi chuckled as he sensed the abundant and boundless Yuan Qi within his dantian, as well as the abundant soul strength within his mind. He never imagined that there would be another pleasant surprise after successfully cultivating the heavenly demon ancient scripture. Breaking through 2 more levels consecutively, he had now reached level 3 of the origin spirit stage. However, Su Yi's recent rapid breakthroughs worried him. He had been suppressing himself and consolidating his cultivation base. He was afraid that breaking through too quickly would affect his foundation. However, every time he broke through, he couldn't stop it. Roar! Milord! Brother Su Yi! The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, Debao, Shaoling, Shangguan Yu, Shangguan Su, Xiongzhan, and Hu Qi all ran over and surrounded Su Yi. If we leave this young man alive, he might become a huge threat one day. On the mountain peak, the yellow-robed old man's face was still filled with shock as he stared at the human youth in the sky. He said to Akatsuki, "Big brother, you have to make a decision soon. I'm afraid that the remnants of the Tian Yao school are with these humans. When the time comes, we won't be afraid that we won't be able to get them out." Akatsuki's eyes moved as he stared at Su Yi, who was surrounded by the crowd of beasts. His gaze also landed on Qi Nu. Seeing Qi Nu, Su Yi, and the group of special barbaric demon beasts together, Akatsuki's eyes secretly fluctuated as he pondered. His expression constantly changed, making it difficult to grasp what was going on. This human is very special. He's very close to the demon clan. Rumor has it that the rise of the Tian Yao school had a lot to do with the demon clan. Akatsuki whispered. Then, he smiled and said to the yellow-robed old man, "What do you think should happen to us one day? Qi Nu still needs time to grow. What do you think he should do?" "Big brother, you mean?" The yellow-robed old man was confused and asked Akatsuki. "Let nature take its course," Akatsuki said softly. His eyes moved slightly, but he didn't say anything. Hearing this, the yellow-robed old man's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything else. He knew that his big brother was paving the way for Chi Nu. His big brother had high hopes for Chi Nu, seeing that the human youth was extraordinary. He was tempted. With such a big commotion, we definitely won't be able to hide it from those fellows around. Some of them should already be on their way to check out the situation. Let's go deal with them. Akatsuki finished speaking, smiled, and turned to leave. X-plus hearing this, the yellow-robed old man looked at the human youth in the distance for a moment and said softly, "Is this human really reliable? I hope my big brother didn't misjudge him." As soon as he finished speaking, the yellow-robed old man also left and disappeared. What kind of technique did he cultivate? Why does it feel like the demon spirit truth? It also feels like the savage scripture. It has the aura of the heavenly tiger technique. In the crowd, Shangguanyu, Xiongzhan, and Hu Qi surrounded Su Yi. They felt that the huge commotion caused by Su Yi just now had an aura that they were familiar with. It was the same as the cultivation technique that they cultivated. However, that aura made them tremble in fear, and they felt suppressed for no reason. It has something to do with it. Su Yi nodded and didn't hide anything. Chi Nu, who was beside him, didn't avoid it either. "I say, Su Yi, can you be more careful?" Su Tianke wobbled and squeezed in with his tail raised. The crimson gold meatball on his head was like a beautiful crimson jade. His short legs and 5 claws swayed as he walked. "Su Tianke, don't forget that I'm your big brother. Show me some respect, or we can learn from each other." Su Yi rolled his eyes at Su Tianke. Ever since they became sworn brothers, this bald chicken had never treated him as his big brother. It just so happened that he had made a lot of breakthroughs recently, so he could test the strength of this mysterious guy. Su Tianke had always been mysterious. "Okay, I'll respect you. You're my big brother. However, don't you realize that you're missing something? Many girls are looking at you." Su Tianke flapped his fluffy wings, which were no longer as bald as before. He rolled his eyes at Su Yi with a hint of schadenfreude. "What's missing?" Hearing this, Su Yi also felt it. Shangguan Shiwei, Shangguan Xiu, and the other girls were standing far away. They lowered their heads and whispered to each other. Some of them seemed to be secretly looking at him from the corner of their eyes. This made Su Yi feel strange, and he lowered his head to check himself. Damn, if he hadn't looked, he wouldn't have known. Su Yi was shocked, and his expression changed. He wished he could find a hole to crawl into. He was completely naked, and his clothes had been destroyed by the lightning. No wonder the female disciples of the heavenly demon sect hadn't come running over. "Help me block it for a while." Chapter 317. Ha 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 ha. Amidst the laughter, Hu Qi took the lead and took out a robe from his space bag and handed it to Su Yi. "I've lost a lot of face this time." Su Yi put on the robe in a hurry, thinking that he had been seen by so many people, especially the female disciples of the Tian Yao school. How could he face others in the future? Everything calmed down, and the pressure that shrouded Kanglan City dissipated. The beasts inside and outside Kanglan City were still in a daze. They had no idea what had happened. They could only guess that the city lord had received some benefits to cause such a huge commotion. In the next few days, Su Yi went out early and returned late. He deliberately avoided the female disciples of the Tian Yao school. He was too embarrassed to meet them. Instead, it was Qi Yan who couldn't hold back in the end and went to fight Su Yi again. The result was self-evident. Qi Nu lost miserably. Su Yi had already held back. After all, this was Kanglan City. He had to save some face for Qi Nu. Learning from each other wasn't a life and death battle. At night, the bright moonlight decorated the night sky. Roar. Around Kanglan City, the roars of many savage beasts could be heard. Swish, under the moonlight in the mountain forest, a figure was like a ghost. The Fuyao's 100 transformation steps focuses on changes and unpredictability. He muttered to himself. His figure changed endlessly, real and fake. Su Yi was practicing the Fuyao's 100 transformation step. Wherever his figure passed, the dust didn't rise and the sand didn't move. He had truly reached the point of unpredictability. The Fuyao's 100 transformation steps was a royal-grade martial skill. Strictly speaking, it wasn't even comparable to a normal royal-grade martial skill. There were several small levels in the Fuyao's 100 transformation step. Practicing the Fuyao's 100 transformation steps to the small success level could shrink the ground into an inch, greatly increasing one's speed. If it went one step further, it could be unpredictable. When fighting with an opponent, it was enough to dazzle the opponent, making it impossible for the opponent to see clearly. Back then, Su Yi had already cultivated unfathomable transformation, but he was still rather immature. His cultivation level also affected the effects of Fuyao's 100 transformation step. It was just like how the same treasured sword would have different effects when it was wielded by a child and an adult. If one could cultivate the Fuyao 100 transformation steps to the large success stage, they would be able to condense origin chi wings. At that time, they would be able to soar through the sky like a great rock. As a martial artist, a powerful martial artist who had reached the origin spirit realm would be able to form yuan chi beneath their feet and form illusory images of beasts that could soar into the sky. It wasn't impossible for some of the more powerful martial artists to condense some flying beasts' phantoms to fly. However, it consumed a lot of energy and couldn't be sustained for a long time. Su Yi had reached the essence spirit realm. However, when he was breaking through to the essence spirit realm, he had encountered the savage demon beasts of Azure Water City. Thus, he had yet to study how to condense the illusory image of a beast with his yuan chi. Su Yi had already reached the third level of the origin spirit stage. Coupled with the fact that he had plenty of time in Azure Water City recently, he wanted to cultivate in this aspect. However, compared to that, Su Yi was more interested in trying to see if he could improve on the Fuyao 100 transformation step. The final stage of the Fuyao 100 transformation steps would allow one to condense a pair of wings and soar through the sky. Back when he was at the bottom of the cliff, Su Yi had wanted to continue practicing the Fuyao 100 transformation step. However, it was a pity that Su Yi was unable to condense a pair of wings at the bottom of the cliff. That mysterious old man had also said that condensing a pair of wings to fly at the essence spirit realm was equivalent to a fool's dream. Thus, Su Yi had given up. Now that he was at the third level of the origin spirit realm, Su Yi wanted to give it another try. According to the cultivation information of the Fuyao 100 transformation steps, in order to condense a pair of wings, one had to open up dozens of special meridians on the back and circulate yuan chi within these dozens of meridians. Finally, the yuan chi would form a pair of wings to fly. The process was incomparably complicated and required the support of boundless yuan chi. In the past few days, Su Yi had been studying the Fuyao 100 transformation steps and had made some progress. After all, Su Yi was already very familiar with the Fuyao 100 transformation step. However, there was still a long way to go before he could condense a pair of wings. In the past few days, Su Yi had also been attempting to condense a beast form. This was the symbol of the origin spirit realm. He did not have a master to teach him, but he had Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu and Hu Bu, the three elders. Although Su Yi was too embarrassed to meet people these few days, for the sake of cultivation, he had shamelessly sought out the three elders and consulted them on the problem of condensing a beast form. The three elders' attitudes towards Su Yi became better and better. Every time they saw Su Yi, they could not help but be shocked and taught Su Yi without holding back. Condensing a beast form may seem simple, but it is actually quite complicated. The stronger the beast form, the harder it is to condense it. Condensing a beast form under one's feet is related to yuan chi. You have to open up several meridians in the soles of your feet and study the barbaric demon beasts to succeed. If you want to condense a beast form, you have to have a sufficient understanding of the barbaric demon beast. More importantly, you need a drop of blood essence from the barbaric demon beast. The three elders told Sui this. To condense a beast form under one's feet, which was the symbol of the origin spirit realm, seemed simple, but it was also very complicated. For example, to condense a phantom image of the azure water red gold beast, one had to have a deep understanding of the beast. More importantly, one needed a drop of blood essence from the azure water red gold beast to succeed. Sui memorized this by heart and humbly asked for advice, including some other cultivation questions. It was not easy to find such an opportunity, so Sui naturally would not let it go. The three elders' attitudes towards Sui were originally somewhat vague and hesitant. They did not know what to do with his identity as the Tian Yao School's headmaster. But recently, Sui had taken out the complete set of the demon spirit truth, savage scripture, and heavenly tiger technique that they had been dreaming of. Also, the terrifying commotion a few days ago made them more and more hesitant. At this moment, regardless of whether they admitted it or not, Sui had the identity of the Tian Yao School's headmaster and was humbly asking for advice from them. This made the three elders feel an indescribable sense of accomplishment. This headmaster was also someone they had taught before and had a direct relationship with them. Therefore, he was also related to the tribe of tiger hunters and the wild bear tribe, so he was not considered an outsider. Thinking that he was not an outsider and had become the Tian Yao School's headmaster, Elder Lulu, Elder Hubu, and the others did not feel that there was anything wrong with it. Sui asked the three elders a lot of questions and learned a lot from their answers. Condensing a beast form required the blood essence of a barbaric demon beast. Sui felt the barbaric demon beast beside him and thought of Su Tianke. How great would it be if this was really a peacock? But looking at Su Tianke's current state, Sui could only give up and not think about it. Sui also thought of Chi Nu, but after thinking about it carefully, he felt that it was not suitable. As for the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, white jade mystic bird, and barbaric heavenly leopard, Sui pondered for a while and felt that it was not suitable either. Very new. Fastest on _%. Chapter 3:18. Although the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the white jade mystic bird had already received the inheritance and were no longer the same, Sui thought about it and decided to look at it again when he encountered a suitable one in the future. Anyway, he was going to cultivate the Fuyao 100 transformation step. If he could cultivate it to the phenomenal stage and condense wings, it would be better than condensing the beast form. In the end, Sui placed all his attention on the Fuyao 100 transformation steps, hoping to improve it further. In his mind, he carefully comprehended the cultivation information of the Fuyao 100 transformation step. Sui had already opened up dozens of special meridians on his back. If he wanted to condense wings, the dozens of special meridians on his back were the foundation. Yuan Qi gushed out from these meridians, causing collisions and finally condensing into a pair of wings. This process was extremely complicated and required the support of a vast amount of Yuan Qi. However, this was not a problem for Sui. All he needed was time. Hula! A faint crimson light flickered behind him, as if a Yuan Qi vortex had appeared on his back. This vortex was like a helicopter's propeller. It had a rising force that lifted Sui's toes off the ground. His body swayed and staggered. Bang! Sui crashed into a big tree. His face was bruised and swollen from the close contact with the tree trunk. Something's wrong. There's a problem with the flow of Yuan Qi in the meridians. Sui did not care about his bruised and swollen face. He was thinking about the problem that had just occurred. Yuan Qi gushed out from dozens of meridians on his back. It would not work if a single meridian was wrong. Wings should have been condensing on his back, not a vortex. Continue. Soon, Su-Yi continued to comprehend and cultivate. If he could cultivate wings on the Fuyao 100 transformation steps, he would be able to fly. That would be of great help to him. Whether it was fighting with enemies or facing danger, it would be of great help. This made Su-Yi determined that he must cultivate the complete Fuyao 100 transformation step. Haste makes waste. Control your Yuan Qi and condense it forcefully. You will fail. Su Diang's figure appeared and leaned against the tree trunk. His fluffy wings were crossed behind his back, and his eyes were indifferent as he stared at Su-Yi, who was continuously falling down. You know body movement techniques? Su-Yi got up and looked at Su Tianke expectantly. I don't know, but in my memories, I've seen others execute all kinds of movement techniques before. The principle behind it should be the same. Su Tianke pouted and instructed Su-Yi like an old man. Su-Yi fell into deep thought. What Su Tianke said made sense. One day later. Dusk was beautiful. The sunset glow was like a piece of scarlet-red fallen leaves that covered the sky and covered the earth with yellow dust, spreading across the mountains and plains. Under the sunset glow, Azure Water City turned dark purple, as if there was a huge, ancient, ferocious beast in this vast mountain range. The sun set behind the west mountain, and as the last afterglow of the sunset faded away, the world gradually darkened. Looking from afar, a ball of faint crimson light was flickering and rising like a flame on the mountaintop. Looking closer, a ball of faint crimson light was rising, like a crimson radiance. A pair of faint crimson wings appeared on Su-Yi's back. Although they were still immature, they had already formed. The faint crimson wings were condensed from his Yuan Qi and formed on his back. They were about 3 meters long and flowed with radiance. They were as thin as a cicada's wings and had a beautiful arc whoosh, flapping his wings. Su-Yi's body rose into the air. Dust and sand flew around him, but his body was getting higher and higher. Success, success. Su-Yi was pleasantly surprised and excited. This was his first success. He had finally condensed his wings. Bang! However, in less than 3 seconds, the Yuan Qi in his body was affected by his surprise and excitement. With a moment of carelessness, Su-Yi's body suddenly fell straight down. Before he could react, he landed on his butt on all fours. Ha ha ha! Not far away, Su Tianke saw this and laughed loudly. He almost applauded. Look at the 7th edition, Chapter E, Section N. Are you trying to lay an egg? Su-Yi got up and rolled his eyes at Su Tianke. However, he was very happy. At least he had succeeded. You're the one who's laying an egg. Su Tianke stared at Su-Yi with a face full of disappointment. Su-Yi ignored Su Tianke and continued to practice. It was not easy to achieve substantial result. He must not miss it. He had to strike while the iron was hot. The night passed quickly. When the first rays of the morning sun shone, Su-Yi's figure was suspended in the air. The crimson wings on his back flapped slowly. The radiance of the wings spread out and the arc of the wings was agile. Whoosh, flapping his wings, Su-Yi's body streaked across the sky. He was really flying with his wings spread out. Sometimes he was high and sometimes he was low. He drifted left and right like a bird in the morning. I finally succeeded. After a while, Su-Yi's wings flapped slightly. His body was suspended in the air at a low altitude. His eyes were filled with indescribable joy and shock. He could actually fly for real. In the memories of his previous life, this was something unimaginable. However, he had really done it now. It was unbelievable. This movement technique seems to be extraordinary. However, it seems to be lacking something. Su Tianke squinted his eyes and looked at Su-Yi, who was suspended in the air. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes.